because he's going to have to deal with Hacksaw playing whether it's like a Pharah or Genji and trying to put pressure on him.
We talk much about Widow, much prefers. From Vancouver.
Okay, so start. This is Lighthouse, correct?
Vancouver, though, this could be interesting.
Hey, Callie.
Potentially you get a...
Okay, so we have Lighthouse. So Vancouver Titans playing Pharah on Lighthouse means that they want to take the outside. They want to play for longer fight, more sustain, build Nano Barrage, which kind of conflicts with the Doomfist. But you do have the Lucio, but their comp's quite conflicting. I'll explain more later. Versus Washington, who are definitely looking to take point control space with Mei Reaper.
Doomfist Pharah setup. Kureg Doomfist.
And yeah, Moira added sustain on point, and then Lucio just to get on point faster.
And then they decide to change, but Doomfist, you can get a lot of value inside of the
So
Lighthouse
here's Washington getting on
right
point.
now, the Justice are going to...
So yeah, now with Washington being on point, it's going to be extremely difficult for Vancouver to retake this. One, without a Moira to build Coalescence, and two, without a Mei to like battle for pull hooks. Well, not pull hooks because there's no hog, but battle for shield break for space. They only have Doomfist to engage, but then Doomfist would be engaging into a Reaper Mei. Like, there's no way Vancouver can retake this until they get their Nano Barrage. In which case, Sansom can eat. Washington sprint first with Valk, or not Valk, but Coalescence, and essentially by engaging with Mei Wall and spreading with Reaper.
To try and take the point with their composition, get the Mei Wall.
Also, this is very undervalued. Look how much earlier Washington's Jonas's shield goes down. Just because Jonas's shield goes down sooner, it means it's like placed right here. So this is 1, 2, a second and a half that Washington's shield's going to come off cooldown before Vancouver's. So that's a smaller window of time that Hacksaw has to farm his barrage, etc. And for Bumper to build Supercharger. Those are the two main ults that Vancouver's looking to build. Out of curiosity, why does Reaper run so much, especially over traditionally better close-range picks like McCree or Tracer? So Reapers ran for two big reasons. The first is just the point-blank damage and lifesteal. If you shield here, if you're Washington, your Reaper can stand right behind shield and literally two-shot the other Orisa's shield, which immediately would force Bumper out. The second point to that is Reaper could then chase, and then the second he's antied from Twilight, the second Hureg engages on him, or he gets low, or Bumper pulls him, assuming there's also a hog, he has a free way out from all of that. He has just his Wraith. He can get out. He can cleanse all effects, get out immediately. Same with Mei, right? Mei is the exact same way, so that's why Mei Reaper is stupid good. You get to what's the word? Mediate, negate, prevent, whatever. The team 1 will not get value from the pool and hooks against Mei Reaper, and then by splitting Wall and Orisa and then having Reaper just walk through shield, two-shot Orisa and get out, that's why Reaper's so good. So the two reasons being, 1, close range damage for getting picks with Mei split, and 2, beating the cleanse effect and just survivability sustain.
With their composition, get the Mei walls up, but the Doomfist can fly on in and get a quick kill, get out.
2 free out of jail cards, exactly.
Lucio makes it a little bit easier to get back to the point. It's been a long time since he's been...
So Hacksaw has a good angle, but he's hitting the shield every time, which is losing an incredible amount of value. He was getting DM'd, and now he's hitting the shield. The second issue is points unlocked. I believe it's
considered a main
2 seconds. So, like I was saying before, Vancouver now has to push onto point or contest it, which they can't. If Bumper pushes onto point at all to contest, he'll get walled and Reaper and destroyed. All they have to do is put a wall between Bumper and Janu. Janu can't DM for Bumper, and then Corey can walk up and like two-shot him in the face. And then Hacksaw, with the soft angle that he has, he's getting no additional added value that he would from being off the distance, just help him shield break because he's missing a shield.
The utility and speed is very important.
Did they wall anybody? No.
This is definitely here that he's...
I don't know what that wall was used for then. Oh, the wall was used because all of Washington is purple. So shield is down, Twilight got a huge nade wall. Wall was used to prevent the follow-up damage. Which is bad. Okay, so yeah, okay, never mind. So that's where the advantage of running a Baptiste comes in over Moira. You want Moira here just for the sustain on point. If Moira's standing here, she can heal almost everybody on point in front of her. And then building Coalescence extremely fast, helping against the Pharmacy is really good and strong. And one thing that we don't have a definite answer for, and we never will, is how much preparation these two teams put in for each other. Did Washington know that they were going to run a Pharah here, and is that why they played Moira? Did they know they were going to run Doomfist, so they played 4 hard counters to Doomfist, where Doomfist gets no value against them? I don't know what they ran. So Sansam not being able to eat that nade is a horrible, horrible mistake. If he would have just ate the nade off of shield cooldown, so basically whenever shield breaks, Sansam can DM, eat the nade, and make no margin for error. Instead he uses DM on Haxel, which resulted in his team getting aided. Because they don't have Baptiste for the immortality, for instances like this, another get out of jail free card. That's why Washington loses his first fight.
Goes down first. So it was almost a matter of time.
Maybe.
They were looking for picks, but in committing to getting that kill, Hureg goes down to Corey. So it's a 1-for-1 trade with DPS is falling over.
Okay, so Arc booped Janu off, and Stratus likely walled and killed. Bumper's on point.
Down to Corey.
HP.
So it's a 1-for-1 trade with
Now he's gone. Okay, so I don't know exactly what went down. It just looks like Vancouver, like I was saying before, they don't have much point presence, especially against these two. So yes, getting the pick on Guido is huge. You can give up the point, give up percent, and now Haxel and Hureg can play a little bit more aggressive. Bumper can play a little bit more aggressive because Washington has a much less sustain because they lost their primary healer. So mistake from Vancouver, pushing on the point, trying to push that advantage too aggressively, and then they get punished for it by the close range of Stratus and Corey.
DPS is falling over.
And then good beat from Mark
shield
as well.
in the corner is so important. Great placement by Giannis even after he goes down. Axel can't do too much while that's up.
And Hureg can't really kind of go on in without his tanks. Could potentially get frozen here. Snake just nice block, nice job finding Sansa in the corner though.
It's a 1-for-1 is not enough for Zoompies.
Oh.
He needs to get more than that. Your hero's designed to get multi-kills when you only get
wait, hold up, dude. Dude, Washington's gonna win this. Oh wait, never mind, I already said that. I already said Washington was going to win. My initial point was Vancouver was going to win. Holy crap, dude. I'm slow. It's been a while since I've done VOD reviews.
Will be able to escape from being frozen.
And
hard zoned out.
Big fight when they have to use some ultimates to be able to do it, but they're able to secure the point. They're going to get up to past 50%.
Washington's going to have beat and Coalescence versus Barrage.
Some of the ultimates
Supercharger.
You're in a position to take this first point.
Probably Meteor Strike. Meteor Strike's not that big of an effect. But having Vancouver having 4 ults here, the only 2 valuable ones really are Bumper and probably Slimes. Barrage should either get walled or DM'd. And then essentially if you stack these 2, you should have immediate shield break and an insane amount of damage for Haxel to then uses primary fire. They might combo all 3 with Barrage and just have an overwhelming amount of damage at once. But if that's the case, then you have 3 effects that can just negate it all.
It's not a whole lot you can do. Getting frozen by Stratus is something he can only really avoid by running away, which is something Diva ever wants to have to do. Axel playing safe, getting
Coalescence to respond to Supercharger, and then Valk to respond to Coalescence.
Shots into the corner here. Twilight does not have Nano Boost available, so it'd be very risky to go in for a barrage here until the fight starts to slant further.
No value with any of their ults. Now Doomfist ult comes in. He's already low HP, so let's see if he wants to use it to engage. That's a huge kill.
Wait for the sound barrier is Haxal. He thinks
Hureg did die.
Now he goes for it. He's going to get the supercharger first. He needs to watch the edge of this door. He'll take splash damage from his own rockets. Just get.
So that was a pointless barrage, just to finish off at like already used Supercharger. And now what Vancouver is firing in Bomb to hopefully just take space. Bomb goes here, actually be really good. I don't know if Jonas has another shield. I doubt he does.
The pick off on that super.
Oh, it didn't go anywhere, so maybe it got walled.
But Charger, they need to get rid of that shield right now. The Orisa barrier protecting most of the Justice from the self-destruct. But Hurek's been brought back into the fight. A late Doomfist entrance would be nasty, and it is devastating as Giannis is cleaned up very quickly. But Corey's back. Now he's going to go for the death blossom himself. Hurek tries to go for the interrupt. And Janu gets the bump, but Hurek off the map.
And this may be last fight.
Johnny caught here. He's going to be frozen down. He gets 2 quick kills now. It has to be the nano boost and Haxel to come and save the day. He needs to connect some of these rockets in the corner.
Between wall, DM, and Orisa shield, there's just, it's so hard to take, one, burn through all of that, and then 2, to get kills through that in addition to Ice Block, Wraith, Fortify, I don't know if I already said DM, and then, what's my shift called?
Guido trying to get away, he had coalescence, and he's going to be taken down, but it took everything the Titans had to stay afloat.
Yes, Giannis switched over.
Titans got it though, mostly from the double boot from Janu. Then he killed Guido. Yeah, that was just really.
He's going to be taken down, but it took everything the Titans had to stay afloat.
Yes, Giannis switched over to the Wrecking Ball to potentially get back to the point if it's winnable.
Yeah, fade.
It was not. Giannis will go back.
So I want to point out what Janu and Bumper did after the bomb. Which, okay, so let me draw this out. So Bumper shielded first, and then the bomb was in front of the shield. And then Washington's shield broke from the bomb. So these two traded, right? And so then with the space that all of that made, the bomb, Bumper then used his second shield in front of where the bomb was to up here. So then he walked forward to take that space with Janu using DM. Now, it was right before what we're seeing on our screen now. And so, essentially, Bumper was just able to fortify, walk straight forward, and do a lot of point-blank damage with Haxel being on the other side firing in. And that's just a really good pinch that they set up. And it just obliterated the space that Washington had. And it forced them out and out this way. And then as they rotated back up to re-engage onto point, that's whenever I think we saw... Haxel uses barrage, wall go up, and then the boot came in. So
you take a look at Janu's POV here. The
right there.
Through, knocks Corey off. Also gets Sansa in the time
Huge
being.
boot.
But yeah, Stratus was actually able to take Haxel out of the sky. So they have to burn res on this. That's pretty big.
And it was a risky res at that. The entirety of the Justice were waiting on that perch to punish. Here's that coalescence that Guido's been keeping in his pocket.
Needs to look for a solo barrage.
Get to the point. Sol has to respect Stratus here. Took an icicle to the knee, but still an adventurer for the time being.
Too late.
Bumper and Hurek down. Not good at all. I mean, you lost your main
Going for a solo barrage on Moira was probably the best play.
tank. And your Doomfist. Barrage comes in from Haxel now. He needs to try and save the day somehow, but Salberry again. Great timing from Ark to lay that down. That's twice now that Haxel's not been able to get a value.
Poor decision making from Vancouver. If you can't win another fight back on point whenever Washington's coming in with ults, you have to hold the chokes. They came with 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't let them get a point.
Nano boost on Janu, but he's still going to be frozen like the rest of them. Defense Matrix doesn't save him there. Bumper drops into the point now, and it is just him. Adaptive shield will prolong the inevitable, but eventually he also will fall. Overtime now, and there's no one close enough right now.
50% the opportunity.
Vancouver doesn't know how to play Mei Reaper forehead.
Is that to get to the flanking axis of the...
Like this middle area, almost for you to cross to get to the other side. You know, the archway here in this middle. Middle area, Acropolis, whatever it is. You can't.
So, 2 things. One, it's 20 seconds into the round, and Washington has already pushed onto Vancouver's half. So this is because of Lucio Moira. You're allowed to take a much more aggressive fight because Moira has her fade, where she can respond to a Widowmaker looking at her, or a Orisa pool, etc., right? So everybody on Washington, with the D.Va especially, if they try to pull a hook, You can eat it, you can wall it, you can shift, and then you're speeding through it either way. So with this is why the Mei Reaper comp is so strong. With or without Orisa D.Va. The difference between D.Va and Hog is D.Va, you're playing more for aggressive space taking. With Hog, you're looking to play a lot more slower shield break, methodical approach to the team fight. So Vancouver playing that more methodical approach and playing Widow instead of Hanzo is pretty bad. Yeah, nice. You want to be running Hanzo for the extra shield break, and because if you're playing around pull hook, and then you don't have the damage to force out these abilities that the other team has, if you're not doing damage to break shield, force the fade, force the fortify, force the walls, etc., and you're like not using BAP especially, and you're just playing Ana Lucio, the only win condition Vancouver has right now is like 3-4 weeks ago walling the pull hook. They don't have any counterplay with the immortality, the Hanzo to be damage boosted and break shield and get picks. They just have Hureg, who's attempting to take an off angle, a lousy off angle, against a Mei wall, D.Va DM, and Orisa shield. What he should have done is gone lower and walked across this bridge, so that then he's able to shoot onto Washington's back line.
Can't get up on there, it's too high. That's the wall, 2 legs and a heartbeat will get in there.
No value with the wall, nobody split. Not even used to take space, literally just used to rotate.
Haxel walls himself up. Sunsummon, taking a fair bit of damage early. I mean, Haxel heard that sound cue, it's a little bit...
You jump from Corey, forcing out Widow, and then you see Washington immediately pushing to take the space to more or less peel for Corey. So whenever Corey comes out of his invisibility, or his wraith, I mean, he will be behind Orisa's shield, and then Stratus will be able to wall him, etc.
Now it's not as loud. Here's someone getting behind you with Reaper.
Wall defensively for him.
Sharp attack he is. Oh, okay. Forces the ice block out of Stratus here. So has to be careful.
So because Corey TP'd up here, Vancouver tried to peel for the Widow and peel for Corey, and then he just shifts and fades out. And whenever he fades out, the rest of Washington comes in and takes that space. So then they all regroup here whenever all of Vancouver peeled for Widow, peeled for Corey, because if Hureg dies, then they don't have the win condition of setting up a fight where Hureg can get angles and go for picks.
And the Justice do get the point, though. They got the Coalescence to back it up.
The Reaper, man.
Yeah, it's gonna...
Why you just to force out Hureg?
Gonna force the Titans back, and if Hureg's not able to find any final blows or whatnot, like, you can just keep throwing the Orisa shield forward, moving them back. You have the Mei, you have the Reaper in play. Janu will get taken out. Hureg uses his sight, so he will be switching off, and he'll go to Reaper.
Do we need to bring back the conversation about whether the Titans are going to be good in this meta? I mean, up until now, they've...
So where Washington's holding here, they're looking to use a Mei wall at the choke, since this is the hardest choke on Ilios Ruins. Either here, coming out of here, or the left choke, where the Mega is. They're looking to hold one of those 3 spots instead of holding on point like some teams do. Generally, on Ilios Ruins, you want to push up and hold these chokes, unless you have a comp such as Dive, where you don't get as much value from holding the chokes as much as you do on capitalizing on the rotations and diving to split.
Used to play the Reaper main mirror.
I think it's way too early in the series, way too early in this stage.
So Vancouver does make the switch finally to Reaper Mei. Let's see how they play it and the mistakes they make.
About it, but I think seeing what you see here at Ilios is obviously
very slow follow from the wall. Wall went up, and Washington's already had time to rotate out before Hureg even begins the engagement.
Yeah, not ideal if you're a Vancouver fan, right?
So no value from the wall.
Yeah.
They have a fan base who expects dominance every day.
Well, they have players who expect to dominate every day. I mean, this is probably frustrating for them as well.
Okay, good start. Freeze the D.Va first. Gets Sansom out of mech.
So double blizzards. Let's look. Go back just a second.
Dominance every.
So Vancouver wants to use their blizzard to zone Washington off the point, and then I believe Stratus uses his blizzard in response to prevent Vancouver from pushing in and punishing, or following up on the blizzard essentially. So they're just trading zone. You know, it's almost like using Diva Bomb for Diva Bomb. It just forces both teams off the point. Or in this instance, it means that neither team can be on the point because of blizzard, or Washington can stay on the point and get frozen, and Vancouver can't follow up on their offensive blizzard because if they get on the point, they'll be frozen second.
So you expect to dominate every day of the week. This is probably frustrating for them as well.
Okay, good start. Freeze the Diva first.
Actually, Stratus's was first, and that's because Vancouver was already beginning to push in, and because Sam was demec'd, so you need to use an ult to cut off these rotations coming in. So good blizzard from Stratus. Really good pull from Bumper, because it's going to group them all, and then Haxel's blizzard would come in. So you see where that blizzard's AoE is? Right here. And they're all caught in the center of it. Really good. Unfortunately, though, Jonas would be able to fortify out. Reaper is wraithing out, and then Stratus should be able to wall. I think he is already in his ice block.
Blizzard now covering quite an area. Janu there loses his mech.
So that's the once again where Reaper may become so powerful is because you have the survivability through it. And then we see Guido, who was playing more in the back of it. He uses his Coalescence now to deal damage through the shield, get a pick on Slime. And I think Vancouver, for the most part, was just playing out of position.
Players who expect to dominate.
He got a health disadvantage. At first pulling Haxel down, forces out his ice block early before the blizzard. And that's when he died. He was...
That's a blizzard now.
Don't know if he was forward. I think he was just killed.
Covering quite an area.
And then we see the blizzard freezing Sansam? No, Janu. And that's where Corey goes Janu. And then Slime was also frozen at the edge. That's where the Coalescence called Slime. So just really, really good blizzard from Stratus, just punishing their engagement. Honestly, that's all it was.
His mech. Oh, Slime! They're getting caught out with the Coalescence. That's not ideal. Guido doubles down and
that
kills
was actually amazing blizzard from Stratus.
The Titans are no closer to capturing the point, even after
it was close to getting eaten, but it was a really good blizzard.
And I think the biggest change for Vancouver, adjusting from like goats to this type of meta, is before you could play around Bumper and how aggressive he was on the Reinhardt, you could play around Somansu, who, take a pick.
Blossom Bomb beat for Washington, Coalescence
in the league, and Janu's a fantastic diva.
I think Somansu's still number one.
You can't...
This is last fight, 20%. So what Vancouver needs to do is mostly use Coalescence to engage. You need to find Corey and zone him out. You need to use Coalescence almost like you would a Diva Bomb in a way, how you would engage with a Diva Bomb, using it to create space. You want to use Coalescence through the shield to force out abilities, right? So you're not as much making space, but you're getting an advantage through the ability usage. You get to force maybe Maywall, maybe beat, we'll see.
You can't really play that way anymore. You have to play around
Depends on who gets slow. Okay, so Washington, using both their abilities super early in the fight at the choke, as Washington gets pushes on the point.
Tanks a little bit less important. That'll be a death.
Really, really good angle from the bomb. That was actually nuts. It just barely peeked above the doorway.
You have to play around some of these damage dealers. It makes the tanks a little bit.
The bomb appeared like right here.
Less important. That'll.
Yeah, we didn't even see it.
That'll be a death blossom, and that's going.
So. Late beat from Vancouver, mostly to stabilize.
Going to be a big self-destruct.
Stratus has been using this wall a lot, and I think mostly it's for Hureg to not be able to take this flank, and they're cutting off this engagement angle, and so then that forces Vancouver to either drop down or come this way. So by walling here, it keeps Washington in control of this high ground, which means that Washington's control of this point is more like this, and then Vancouver's engagement has to be like this. So you're on the high ground shooting down the point versus dropping straight down on the point from high ground and losing it and not being able to contest Washington's high ground because of this wall.
Twilight's a lot of the healing for the Titan.
Any other coalescence? This is the kind of fight where you want to go
Bumper,
for it.
why are you over there?
On its own right now as people so immobile standing behind that Orisa barrier, but it's not to be the Justice.
They may not.
And they have
So that's not
exactly.
one.
Actually, fine. Out on top.
Oh, hold up. We got Valkyrie now.
Corey, maybe get a lot of the debate. And I don't want to say less. Really, just seeing, just I feel
Calling an older. His team have
the Washington.
That's right, except.
Okay, so Reaper or Hanzo over Reaper is due to the range at which the chokes are played. Both the chokes on this map are more laney. You're going to have a lot more distance between the engagements. You're not going to be able to shield straight up to the enemy's Orisa and basically two-tap it with your Reaper shotguns.
Over two different heroes.
And also the ability to contest potential Widow.
Offense, he'll decide to play the Hanzo. Is Hanzo a little bit better at breaking shield?
Why the early wall? Just to force Vancouver to rotate back to point, I assume. See that first shot from Corey on Hanzo? That wasn't a Sonic. Did he see Widow though?
I'm just the one.
Actually, I think Sandsam called it.
He opts to not play Widow here. On offense, he'll decide to play the Hanzo.
And we saw the shot? Okay.
So is Hanzo a little bit better at breaking shield, potentially thinking that Hureg's going to be playing around a lot of the shielding that Bumper will provide.
Good Sonic. And that was a really good one from Hureg.
Yeah.
Does he do the Bren, I died to the Widowmaker?
So, okay, I'll point at this positioning from Hureg. So on Oyo's Lighthouse, no, it wasn't Lighthouse, on Ruins, I guess, I was saying where he needs to be playing on the left and getting an angle on the back line. So Vancouver has opted to shield here and control this lane, which means that if Washington was to engage on a shield on shield, then Hureg would have this line of sight onto Washington's back line over here. So good positioning from Hureg in relation to his team setting up this crossfire. If Washington was to rotate this way and take a closer fight, two things that would negatively happen for Vancouver would be that Hureg has to now rotate to get value with his crossfire, and then Vancouver would have to reposition their shield, which means they wouldn't have the first placement of shield advantage with the cooldown timings.
Let's switch the Widowmaker thing here, or is he disciplined enough to stay on the Hanzo?
Team player.
Yep.
I mean, one of those
One way or another, though, that position is the first way, besides here, where you're a lot more exposed, to get line of sight on the first choke on Volskaya. You have one of these two sight lines. And this one is generally more safer, or the safest, my bad, because you have instant cover, you have a mega health pack, and then you are able to reposition here without being exposed on your rotation.
James is team player.
Looks like, yeah, looks like he's going to be the team player, come back out on Hanzo. So the
Haxel misses wall.
Justice trying
That's
to wrap
pretty
around
bad.
this right-hand side to the...
And then Stratus was able to ice block. I think so. Follow D-Force. Stratus able to ice block, which gave them or traded hook pull for ice block. And then this wall's a little bit unnecessary because you could use this wall to split somebody and win shield break. Instead, he uses it kind of out of panic.
Point, it's that'll be Stratus.
No, he uses it because the shield's broken. Okay.
Stratus go flying in the air, has to block.
Okay, that ball is out for a little
Just
bit.
allow for
So if
rotation.
the Justice are playing anything, they're going to have to wait a couple more seconds. They do. Waiting that out.
Oh, set play.
Okay, they get a high.
Oh, set play. Okay, so that's my shot again.
Okay, that ball is out for a little bit though. So if the Justice are playing anything, they're going to.
Okay, so Washington is prepared to hold choke number 1. They are expecting a reshield from Washington here. So what I've said before is it's a shield with cooldown. If you shield and then they break it, you have your other shield already off cooldown. But if you're Washington and you walk up and you place your first shield, it's a full cooldown before you have your next shield. So the defending team essentially has a shield advantage, and that's why if you're the attacking team, you really want to go for your pull hook first so that you can reactively play expecting the other team's pull hook, and over time that eventually evens out the shield break. But what Washington does here is they take this high ground, which for one means that Hureg can't off angle extremely well, unless he was in this position, which he's not because Washington forced him out earlier. So no matter where he positions now, he can't have angle on Washington's backline. So Washington taking this space does basically throw away Hureg. But then with this shield specifically, now Corey can use his bow on this side of the Orisa shield. So this Orisa shield now needs to be repositioned immediately, and so they won't have that first shield advantage because of this set play. So really good set play from Washington to control this space. And now if Vancouver Titans shield breaks, they have no cover, versus Washington, they do have better cover.
A couple more seconds, and they do. Waiting that out. Corey also returning. Okay, they get a high ground immediately, and Stratus just sends.
Uh-oh, Corey.
Hurek packing with an icicle to the eye socket.
Let me look 1 second at
high
that
ground
bat
immediately,
cooldown.
and Stratus.
So what forced Vancouver's nothing necessarily. It was just because shield broke. They threw immortality. Oh no, they're purpled. Are they purpled? I don't think they are. No, they're not. They don't even have an Ana. So they're not purpled, but immortality goes down. And then Arc threw his immortality to try to save Corey. So that's wasted.
Corey though gets yoinked on down.
So trade 1 for 1.
That was missing, so you
Ana versus Zen. They still have the shield break advantage with Zen over Ana. But Slime's cleaning up on his. They can continue to take this fight.
Can hang around a little bit as the Justice.
They have a little bit of a disadvantage.
To make a play.
So this wall should allow Jonas to shield on point and start to pressure a point and win space on point. That's actually not what they want to do though, because then if shield breaks, they have no cover. So I don't
for the high ground,
know
got
what
slapped,
this wall's
and then
for
they almost took him off.
just
So
allow
they
for the
have to
rotation.
wait for Guido. Now he's in play.
He's alive.
Now for the rotation, the amp matrix go up. Defensive wall to suppress the damage, and then their own amp matrix. So because their amp matrix goes up second, their wall went up to defend against the amp matrix, and Stratus had to use his wall for the rotation. Now he doesn't have his wall to negate any of this damage. Jonas's shield is already broken, and Corey is not here to follow up with this amp matrix. If Corey was here, he could pop his Stormbow and insta-kill Bumper, which would probably result in Washington winning this team fight.
Bumper's shield and a wall comes up and reveals an amplification matrix. Both teams have them out right now. Stratus though not fencing his team's chances. They throw up a wall of their own.
Now, a little bit of an early supercharger from Bumper, but it kind of guarantees them winning the space, and it forces Washington to go out. But bad for Vancouver Titans that they already won it because of the amp matrix. They already won this space, so they really should have saved this for the next fight. And now Washington will be able to come back and engage, and Vancouver, I believe they just used immortality in that last fight. I'm pretty sure they did. So Vancouver's not going to have immortality, amp matrix, or supercharger whenever Washington's going to have nothing
with no progress
necessarily big besides Blizzard. Huge purple.
Oh man,
That was actually a nice spot from Twilight. I want to look at that.
Their own, and now a supercharger.
Watch Twilight over here.
Wait it out. He's a long way away from his. You will have to wait. Although in all fairness,
walks up the stairs just to get the Bionade.
It's already been about 90 seconds into the round.
There it was. Wait, no, that
with
wasn't
no
it.
progress.
How about I think it was.
Oh man,
big biotic grenade. If you're the Justice though, I think you maybe get this Mei wall back up to this little high ground perch, or they're going to use it to wrap around. So they want to close the gap and then Blizzard here. Giannis put the sleep.
That was bad from Hureg. So, like I said about the off angle, Washington's pushing it this way, so their first shield's going to go up like this to take space on point. But Hureg position, he grappled across, right? And now he's going to be looking directly at the shield and not going to have any shot except for over the top of it. But if he would have instead just dropped down.
High ground perch, or they're going to use it to wrap around.
with the angle that he was kind of just holding, right here, you can drop down and play below where he's currently playing, and then have this sight line still. He could have this sight line behind the shield. So the shield's here, he could still have that sight line in the back line. So bad grapple from Hureg.
High ground perch, or they're going to use it to wrap around. So they want to close the gap and then Blizzard here. Giannis put to sleep though.
That was kind of autopilot.
Playing the corner.
See, look right here. If Hureg went here, do you know how good of a line of sight he would have? And there's nobody to contest him really besides Guido and Stratus. Actually, I mean, I take that back. He's pretty well contested, but it'd still be worth taking the off angle, playing around the mini and this wall. It would still be worth, in my opinion, or at least stay on the high ground here. That's better than playing out in the open up here.
Reposition himself here. Nice hook. He's gonna have to...
So, good thing about Nano versus Trans is that you do have another get out of jail card against Pull Hook.
Or they're going to use it to wrap around. So they want to close the gap and then Blizzard here. Giannis put to sleep though.
So Hureg not getting any shots.
Hureg there, just playing the corner.
Fortify goes on early, Shield goes on early. And this is where Bumper's Holt comes in.
He's going to reposition himself.
No, I don't know whose Holt that was. But then Hook on the John is really good. Pull through the shield. But does shield break?
Here.
No.
Nice hook. He's going to have to be an animation now.
So Jono's Nanos stay alive. Stratus's Blizzard and Trans while still... Okay, so Guido transes while the team is still in Immortality. And then a Blizzard to punish the hook on a Jono.
Now use on a Jono to keep him alive. Stratus comes forward. That was the opening. The Justice will look...
But now, because there's no shield, they're purpled. So, good nade from Twilight. I believe Twilight's up here with Hureg. And then he gets a nade onto the Trans, which allows for Vancouver to then kill Jonas and Santam. Probably Santam will die. And because Arc used his Immortality earlier...
Looking for, but it's a Venn diagram of frostiness.
Blizzards go down. So that's...
with the Titans to come
mistakes
out
were made. They need to save their Immortality
the Transcendence
for
is good there from
the Blizzard
Guido.
from
It's just a
Paxel.
biotic grenade that connects.
Just because
Giannis,
Twilight has an anti-nade and they don't have a diva.
Then everybody else starts falling as the Blizzard came down from both teams there.
I think the pressure, we do have this conversation about whether the pressure has been moved off of Giannis and Sunsum now with DPS being more important.
The ability traits for
Giannis has the pressure.
Where I feel like tanks and goats and 3-3 were the more impactful of the heroes on the game. Where I feel like now, it kind of evens out across the 6 players, right? Where damage heroes can have a really big impact, right?
So Hureg, you see this shot from him here. He rotated all the way through to get an angle on their back line while they're making this rotation. And if he was able to get a pick here, that probably would have won the map. But instead, Stratus uses this wall early to help with the rotation.
Player like Corey, you can play a
Twilight did get asleep,
hero
so
like
that
Widowmaker.
could be another reason why the wall went up, and then it forced out shield. So Washington's going to have to wait, and this is the last fight for Washington. But fortunately for Washington, they do have Ant Matrix and Bongo, which they can combo for a ton of shield break. And then they can use Hoggle after or during just to further break shield. And then Dragon after all of that goes down, and then Slime uses his Immortality. They can use Dragon after with a Pull Dragon combo to hopefully secure kills and win the point. If you're the Titans, gosh, I don't know what you can do. You're kind of in trouble.
The wins clearly, but he's not going to play the Widowmaker here. Playing the Hanzo, going to have.
You have to use your wall, which they just used. So if Justice was to engage right now, they have 10 seconds where they don't have a wall.
For this next fight, split some players off.
So here goes the Supercharger Amplification Matrix, and right here is where Haxel should wall this.
A lot of time on this. This has to be a good push.
So yeah. Bumper's gone. Like, that's so much damage. And that's a mistake from Haxel. He needs to wall this to block the damage and allow for Washington to be able to rotate out. I think Slime threw down his Amp Matrix. I don't know where it is. It might be in here. But it looks like it went down just like a little bit too late. I mean, Bumper's fault for like not surviving through this. But mostly Haxel. You need to wall this. You need to know that's your win condition. If they were ult tracking, they would know that the second they're going up here to secure a point with their damage ultimates. They're going to have line of sight and just win all of that point presence with the amount of damage they're about to apply.
Okay, Bumper just gets disintegrated.
There goes Slime.
That amplification
The
matrix
dragon's
was well placed.
kind of
Slime
extra.
didn't last much longer either. It starts some opening up with the hook. Oh my.
Yeah, and the damage doesn't affect the
Slime
dragon
wastes his
strike,
ant
but the
matrix.
supercharger
Oh
ant
no.
matrix, that'll
Now they won't have it for third
as
point.
they shoot the regular projectiles through the ant matrix. And
They do have Blizzard.
You see they're able to
Bongo
release
and
Bumper
Hoggle.
pretty much instantly.
His barrier went down and then so did he. He just vaporized.
So that is a nasty
Yeah.
combination. Yeah, you know, if
I've been
Mercy,
Haxel for not having
Mercy beam in there,
wall.
send the Zen, get even more damage on, but
You know, we're assuming at home you're going to go for the less optimal.
well, yeah, I'm also assuming at home you don't have like 5 DPS players.
Don't assume that. That's not right now. Is that a safe assumption?
Oh.
Hurek
Oh, good.
finds Guido on that
Pick by
high ground
Hurek.
there. There was just a window where that shield was down, and Hurek was set right up the back top right corner.
Yeah, they have to back out anyway. I mean, this is a point of the game for the Justice where they just need to like kind of poke, force some ultimates out. It was not really a push that would have resulted in a win of the map, most likely, unless the Titans like beefed all their ultimates.
Washington just regrouped
now when you
because
get
of
Guido
Guido getting
back, and then
picked.
you have an opportunity here for the Justice to
Now
make
they are
a
grouped
push.
on this high ground, so Washington doesn't have any of the damage amplification. So the same thing they did on point 1, going up here, winning this high ground gives them this line of sight, but it's not that valuable from up here. So going up here, there's 2 good reasons to win this high ground, which you don't need to go up there as a team unless the other team is contesting it, which they're not. The reason why you want to go up here is if you want to have your Zen play high ground and you want to just protect him, make sure he doesn't get picked during that rotation, which is no real reason to do that. You generally want to behind Orisa shield. Or if they're going to Mei wall and rotate to take this high ground, which will do the same thing that they did on first point. I think that's what they're trying to do, because this is their second time going up there. And then I don't know, like I don't know why they'd be doing that this fight if that's their plan, if that's a set play, because they don't have ults for
Force
it.
some ultimates out of the Titans.
They need to be
come
poking.
back with a chuck full of ultimates themselves.
The Justice feels so careful, man. Their setups, they're really waiting not on ultimates but on key cooldowns.
Oh, they are.
Like Maywall.
5 head.
Across now. Use
Dude, and then Haxel did the late
this
wall.
is a bridge. I like this.
So yeah, that was good. One shield goes down, so now they need to wait.
Getting into a
for next
position
shield.
that's normally favored by the defenders and hard to access as an attacking team.
So yeah, that forced Bumper on point, and now Bumper doesn't have a corner to play behind. If like you break the shield, now Bumper has to back up all the way before he has a corner to play behind. All of these people are extremely vulnerable to being picked now. So Washington invested the immortality just to rotate and get immediate pressure until their next shield is live, so that's pretty good.
This causeway still is a bit risky for them. They still need the
And there's
Orisa
the
barrier.
Matrix. That farmed really quick.
Bumper attack.
And then Bumper deleted again. Holy crap, dude. Literally, that's impressive.
Eliminated
They did the exact same thing they did on first point, and Vancouver fell for it twice.
it again. That'll be 1 tick here. Corey picks
Corey.
up another.
I mean, Hurek tries to go for a safe, sneaky angle map, but he gets nothing done. Absolutely nothing. Hurek.
So, let me think. Janu and Twilight were back here, and then you had Bumper, Haxel, Hureg, and Slime who were over here. So, with like the same point I made earlier on Ruins with the point, stutter. Whenever you're Washington and you have all of this high ground, or mostly this high ground, and then forcing Vancouver here, and then you're shooting down onto them, which you can't see those arrows. That's good. That's my bad. Well, especially with this map geometry, Bumper not having a corner. If Vancouver needed to contest point, which they do, because Stratus is contesting, or he was, like where are you gonna push into? They used Ant Matrix, and they had Corey shooting through it. Like you can't contest point now. You're done. And then Haxel, who's probably the only person who can contest point after Bumper died. Corey headshot him during rotation, so he's nuts.
Greg, only 3 eliminations. Final blow should I say on this map.
So Nano John is just
Justice now have a big opening. Bumper drops in. He had.
They needed a combo hook with that if they want to have any chance
Good
of
known
winning.
he was jumping into the belly of the beast with that pile driver. Janu taken down by Sunsum's whole hog. And the
Okay, Mei Blizzard, but Bumper's dead, so
Washington Justice,
now
they approach this carefully, they approach it
contesting.
slowly. Stratus will be
Yeah. You're not going to get any value out of it.
frozen there. Giannis probably will outlast it. Yeah. Fortify keeps unfrozen.
Hooray.
Ureg's here on the Reaper now. You know, ice wall in his way. Try and skip around it. Turns around and comes back. No kills yet from the Titans on this defense though, Matt.
Slime doesn't have his
And
immortality
that's the
back
issue.
yet.
They can stall this out for as long as they please with 90 seconds left in the round.
Yeah, they're
But
just
not
stalling
gonna
now.
stop
There's
it.
nothing they can do.
Seems to be-
Really, really, really good plays from Washington. I'm impressed. That was really good.
Back and then.
Like
Kind of wanted to hear what they said. Oh well.
So they I picked up games to do stuff like this, but then I wasn't able to. So they use the
So yeah, that's where Stratus was contesting. And then the Ant Matrix goes up.
Ant Matrix. They break the wall, and Guido has a bunch of orbs lined up ready for Bumper's
these
face.
apples.
Gosh, that's nuts. Holy crap. Guido, a full volley to Bumper's head through the shield. That was actually nuts, dude. Holy crap.
Lines them up.
It's nice.
Really nice stuff here from the Justice. They've made really good use of the Batiste.
I love this. I love the you know, the hidden amplification matrix is the deadliest, right? They put it up after a wall's gone up, and they drop the wall, and just bam, you just get hit with a face full of damage.
Arc has had a big impact, though. I mean, 0 deaths. The healing, the healing's pretty good. I mean, pretty good. Actually, looking at it, it's like 70% of the team.
Yeah, he has 70% of his team. I mean, they have to have Zenyatta, of course.
Vancouver running Widow again. They're going to have a
healing
real hard
amplified.
time pushing this.
It's only
Without
minor
Hanzo?
amount, but the 1600 damage amplified is big.
Oh, yeah.
Let's
It
see how they set
resulted
the
in,
crossfire
like 2 or 3
to rig,
pickoff.
or at
It
least
allowed
try
them
to.
Point A and point B, pretty much.
So, this is interesting. Jonas is the only one on low ground, but he's playing really far up with the rest of Washington on high ground. Reason being, are they just going to try to wall and split and choke? I guess, maybe. We'll see.
They're not using Ant Matrix for healing, though. The way they're, like, if you
Forcing out cooldowns early, they use pull hooks first. It's good.
want to use Ant Matrix for healing, you put it in between you and your teammates. They would put it
Yeah.
in front of the teammates, so there's no chance to heal them.
Shielded
to
left,
boost
forcing
that
rotation.
healing.
They're going to run the Batiste with the on defense here.
Rig hoping someone would get yoinked into that halt. Would have been an easy pick off for him, and wouldn't that have paved the way?
That was an interesting first hold. I don't know why they did that. I really don't know why they held close. That was kind of weird. They didn't get any
With the sky.
value out of it. There was no
Goes
set
Bumper.
play or anything. I don't know.
Usually he's doing it on Reinhardt, it's the same thing really.
Maybe just to go for a pull
I
hook
mean, it's a great
early, I
position
guess.
for
I
Corey.
don't know.
He's a little bit wary of Hureg's position.
Oh, Corey. So he sees Hureg making this rotation. So while he knows Hureg is rotating, he pushes up and gets a nuts angle over the shield.
Now, because he knows that in a pitched battle, it's a little bit hard for him to win out. That's how our hit scan works, those projectile. But Sansa.
So he still knows that Widow's not over here. So maybe he knows Widow's back here now. I would assume he does.
Sam's gone down already. And that was, I believe, off a halt. So Haxel's able to get that.
There's no hooks. Since instead, how do you die? It's my bad. I was tunnel vision on Corey.
In a pitched battle, it's a little bit
Yeah, bumpers, pull hook.
hard for him to win out. Because how
Oh, that's a bad wall.
our hit scan works, those projectile.
That's
but
why.
Sam's
And then their immortality's
gone down already. And that was, I believe, off
Why?
a
I
halt.
don't know.
So Haxel
Just because of Corey, I assume, maybe.
was able to get that finish kill. And I don't really think you want to take Corey on like that, Haxel. It was a little bit
That
low.
angle's really bad. Sorry. There wasn't much I could tell.
Oh, he's
I'm going to start doing the replay viewers for future VOD reviews so we can actually see better angles and see what's going on.
forced to ice block, but he at least has the high ground. He just
Right,
needs
got
to
to get it
keep the
downloaded and
Hanzo in his sight, so if this
practice
happens,
with
he's
it and
ready for it.
stuff
That's right. Cheeky. Corey going to fire that one off through the point there, but no one's really
That's
going
a
to be
huge waste
affected
of
by it.
the wall.
Haxel in a great position to jump in and get a freeze. Yes, there's
Freeze
an
on
mortality
Ana.
field up, but still freezing people and getting them low
They're
enough
also
is good.
low.
However, that
Something
immortality
down.
field from Slime staves them off.
Yeah, Corey
Because
is
they
fucking
don't
up big.
have
Holy crap.
Sansum in the fight, they decide to nano boost Stratus, so they send Stratus onto the point with the nano boost on Mei. They only give up a tick here.
That was nuts.
To the
Okay,
Titans,
so just with the
good
Stratus'
first point
Blizzard
defense
and then
when you're already
Corey,
a player down here.
Vancouver rotated all the way back. like I don't, they were split all on this line, and basically what Washington did is they just kind of backed up to this position, and then they blizzard bumper, and Corey being able to play on this high ground, just strong in red. Corey playing on this high ground was just able to pick them all off. Dude, he just popped off. Part of this Blizzard's help.
Switch off of
overall,
Widowmaker.
he just popped.
And he'll play Hanzo
it's
now.
nuts.
So,
It's time. It is the Salty Bren run back.
but you know, they haven't been, like, the Justice have not been baited into taking this Widow on Widow battle, which you feel much better about going against the Titans when you don't see who
switching off Widow.
Because that's really how they've done a lot of the good things they've done in this stage, is with, like, Widowmaker and Genji, and
Bro,
they don't have those heroes.
Like, if you're Curry, like, I'm not saying you're lost in the sauce, but you have to know that you have, like, sick Widow stats that you could probably win in the head-to-head.
Go back to look at the engagement.
Playing that Widowmaker, because that's really how they've done a lot
So one
of the
showed
good
help
things
with the rotation, wall to cancel the pull hook, okay.
they've done in this stage, is with, like, Widowmaker and Genji, and
Bro,
they don't have those heroes.
Like, if you're...
So, they used shield, they used wall, just to rotate. Vancouver used their pull and their shield. So they're going to be coming up to this point basically even. This engagement on the point will be close to even.
Have, like,
Both teams using supercharger, both teams using a shield to get early advantage. Difference being, I think, I don't know, we'll see.
sick Widow stats that you
Both shields break the exact same second, so
could probably win in the head-to-head.
really good. Okay, so wall to prevent them from backing out after the shield broke, and then the pull, which was comboed with this honest sleep dart. You heard nap time.
Right. Still doesn't...
So Janu slept, immortality, protect Janu. So with pull, sleep, and Ant Matrix, they've forced out, and wall, they've forced out immortality. But where is Haxel's wall? Haxel playing up here. He needs to be with his team to wall for the hook. Like, Haxel's not here. That's the second time they're about to lose a fight because he's not playing the win conditions with his Mei wall.
Go for it.
Yeah, and there's the hook. And that's it, dude. Haxel, you're throwing, dude.
Just
What is he doing?
too far around the corner. If it was back a little bit further, it might have been protected.
I think for the Justice, it's do we have a better chance with the consistent damage?
They all like
Corey and
tunneled on Corey. They tried so hard to kill Corey.
Or do we feel better about him just
play for shield, play for
killing a
tanks.
good counter sniper in Hureg, and then just popping off after that? I think you kind of take this option.
Dominate in this meta, Matt? Is it too early still?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's really early in terms of just anyone dominating in the meta and really kind of figuring out what's going on.
Here's your double Hanzo head-to-head. Dragon strike
Why
here. Who Reg's gonna see that coming? He has enough time. Oh,
It's Transcendence. Oh, they have to use it. And then the Justice.
Wow, they had to use trans on the rotation. Trans and immortality. Ooh. I'm gonna draw the circle. There we go. Trans and immortality just to rotate. That's super, super, super unlucky. So Vancouver trying to do what Justice did with the taking high ground using Ant Matrix and then hopefully winning point. But you see, I don't know if this is miscommunication or not, but the rest of Washington recognizes this rotation and they're already ready to rotate around this corner and play safe, except for Stratus. I don't know what Stratus is trying to do. Maybe Stratus is supposed to contest point. Or, sorry, Jonas. My bad, not Stratus. Stratus should be ready with this Mei wall as well, though.
Just back on up.
It's so clever, really.
So Ant Matrix goes down late. Shield's about to break, and now Ant Matrix goes down. That's kind of a big
Really, they're in a small
And then, yeah, the good wall. So that's good from Stratus, which Haxel didn't do the first fight.
corridor. They can't really jump out if they do that.
And Hureg was on the bridge crossfiring,
as well.
which is bad because he's not using the Ant Matrix.
Wall is destroyed.
Yeah, only now is he rotating.
Who's there to shoot? Okay,
But yeah, Jonas just on the rotation gets caught out, so that was a mistake.
well, Giannis is there on the point.
And then Immortality and Arc, so maybe Arc should save Jonas and was late, and now he's wasting the Ant Matrix. First point mistakes.
Okay, so they get some value out of it there. It's tough. Where do the Justice go when the opponent's up there? You have to leave the point completely.
Yeah, and I think you have to really do a nice job of like rotating your Mei wall and your Orisa shield. You can kind of use both of those. Maybe like wall, shield, then.
Whenever Vancouver Titans use their Ant Matrix up here, Hurrig was actually here crossfiring, which I don't know why, because Sansam, Jonas' shield, not Sansam, Jonas' shield would still cover that angle because he was playing here. So I don't know why Hurrig played there and used the Stormbow instead of using it with the Ant Matrix.
Wall and then get back. They end up losing point A to Stan. They have a nano boost and whole hog.
Yeah.
I need to stop saying I don't know why because I know why. I just say it just for flow of speech. Makes it more wordy. It's a bad habit.
Blizzard as well if they need.
Yeah, it's gonna go against Blizzard.
Oh, the headshot from Hurrig onto Jonas. That's a mistake from Jonas.
The Dragon Strike, that's not
He has
good.
shield up.
Guns down early. Full immortality field could.
But yeah, you shouldn't die if you're Orisa in the pre-fight like that. That's pretty bad. Play a corner so that you can peek once your shield breaks.
Be deployed, and that's where it gets a little bit dangerous.
Probably
Blizzard throwing
overregression.
up on the point there. And yeah, Sunsum frozen solid.
So immortality from did they use their immortality early? Did Washington slime? Yeah, they did. So here's a Vancouver's immortality.
Deployed, and that's where it gets a little bit
And then
dangerous.
whenever Stardust's Blizzard comes in,
Blizzard throwing
the immortality I think gets destroyed.
up on the point there.
Yep, there it goes. And so because now Washington's lamp is up, they're gonna win this fight just because of lamp.
And yeah, Sunsum frozen solid right now, but nice job. Okay, the defensive Blizzard comes out here from Stratus, and then he gets two.
Stratus
so
is
clever.
such a good Mei.
Man, these DPSs on the Justice, man.
Hurrig and Axel are getting
His
outplayed
Blizzard
right
time,
now
that's
by Corey and Stratus.
twice at
Corey's got
least
12 final blows.
that
Stratus
his
with
Blizzard
10.
has solo carried Justice.
As, he has been a
Just
force
the
on
timing of it.
Mei.
The exact second that he uses. No, it was 3 times, because twice this game, and then once in Ruins.
Now knowing that, you know, roll lock
Yeah,
is kind
that's
of the future
impressive, dude.
Of the game,
as well.
yeah. I mean, and also I think
Oh, what?
fan building around these two players for the future, right?
Now knowing that, you know, roll lock is kind of the future
So Icicles,
of the game.
Of the game,
as well.
yeah.
bumper turns, and he's already antied from maybe Twilight down here.
I mean,
And then Icicles is in volley and maybe a Hanto arrow. He's
and also I
deleted.
think
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I'd also think Arc becomes more valuable of a piece now. Is that like I feel like in GOATs, like you really didn't see the best of Arc. I think now you can play like, do you see more Mercy come into play? Do you see now him pick up the Batiste?
Sonic
right?
Arrow
Skill
tried to do the
is
same
still
thing.
always good, and I think he
Maybe
just
had Sonic
provides a lot
before,
of
that's probably why.
veteran leadership to this team.
He was
You have
definitely
these 3 players.
Definitely more known for the Mercy.
They did it again? Oh, Vancouver, dude. You can't be making those
Corey!
mistakes.
Just sending him back home, fam.
I mean, those are just halts. They're even trying
It's
to use
absolutely
immortality to
Papega.
pick people up to Titans, but
And now they wasted
he's just
immortality
mapping
too.
them.
Alright, so the Sonic Arrow there. Yes.
Clock.
It's all it takes. And the Titans have to go, they have to walk back and wait for that
Good wall.
But even look how cautious they.
See, what's this wall for? I don't know, Stratus. You're pulling him this way. You'd want a wall here, maybe. That wall is kind of
have
pointless.
to be like the halts come in. They have to use
Just a
Mei
supplication,
wall early.
maybe?
A big biotic grenade there from Guido.
Hurrig is
connects
one.
with 5.
Sting, yeah, that is a big buyout from Guido. Look at this. Ooh, 5-man, and that forces immortality. And like, this has been a minute now that Vancouver has just been trying to rotate 2-point from spawn because Washington has Stratus here and then the rest of the team here. So Stratus being able to wall, that's why he walled. He was forcing Vancouver to push out main into this team, into the rest of his teams on its site. So that's why he walled.
Players, they have to use the immortality field so early on.
They have no field now. What a great vantage
So
point.
what do you do? Do you wait for this cooldown to come up? This allows the Justice. They're gonna have all 6 ultimates.
Mei is doing an unspeakable amount of damage with headshots as well. Here's the amplification matrix thrown up. Corey's in a great spot to benefit.
How did Haxel get picked? Dude, you have an ice block and a Mei wall.
But now it has to be a
So yeah, good job Jonas not making the same mistake. I think last time he was here whenever his shield broke, and that's why he got deleted. But now he's actually playing the corner. And so because he's playing the corner, he has a really good amp matrix that reaches Stratus, who's contesting point, and then everybody else on his team. They are able to use lamp on the corner, and then that. So, okay, let me go back. I can break this down a little bit better.
No field now. What a great vantage.
Well, what do? Do you wait for this cooldown to come up? This allows the Justice, they're going to have all 6 ultimates.
Mei is doing it on.
So shield supercharger,
Speedful amount of
counter supercharger, and amp matrix from Washington. So Washington is using double damage buffs, which 2 to 1. Washington's going to be able to break shield, force out cooldowns faster, gain advantage. Oh, thank you, Pixel, for the sub. Welcome back. 2 month Pagu. Nice.
damage with headshots as well. He is there.
I'm uploading new emotes for T1 because we have 2 spots now. I'm getting the heart as one of the T1 subs, so you'll get it once it's like approved by Twitch. So because Vancouver, or not Vancouver, but Washington used 2 damage amplification ultimates, they're basically gonna render bumpers useless because even though both teams break shield and both teams don't have a shield, Washington's going to use their lamp here, which allows the rest of Washington to push out and be invulnerable for the next 5 seconds while still being able to deal that double damage. And because of Vancouver's positioning, they're not going to be able to, or at least it's unlikely that they get as valuable of a immortality field as Washington. So assuming that their immortality is just as good, they should be fine. Slime's just not using his ult. But then Hureg using his dragon, which is, he's already fired, while the immortality is up. Vancouver uses 2 ults that forces immortality. But then using a dragon is pointless. You want to use dragon after you force out the ice block, the Reaper Wraith, the mobility abilities, the fortify, the hog heal, the immortality field. You want to use dragon after that with a pull hook to secure kills, right? You have to weaken up the defense before you can get kills, and so Hureg's kind of rushing it, which I think that's mostly because of a lack of preparation. Hureg's been playing Widow the entire game. I mean, he was on Doomfist for his Lighthouse, but he's been playing Widow. They obviously didn't want him necessarily on Hanzo, so that's probably lack of his understanding of meta, and then lack of preparation and coaching into Hureg's Hanzo.
Corey's in a great spot to benefit now. It has to be a Dragon Strike, though, as he's going to be forced to move out of position. This, in turn, though...
See, there's the lamp. Melio, thank you for the host, man.
Prevents the Titans from getting max value.
So that dragon, which... no, it just split Hureg with the rest of the team. But either way, it's forced them out. They have lamp up, but if they didn't have shield, they still want to regroup.
Their matrix as well.
That's how Initiums always work.
And the Titans wanted to use their own dragon and push up to still have the effects of the supercharger and push them back into the corner, but they're not able to do so because Corey's Dragon Strike pushes them back.
We're watching the future of the league here on defense right
now. Guido now set up on the high ground.
So Vancouver, dude, I really want them to complete copycat Washington and do the Mei wall. That'd be the funniest thing if they copied it. They looked for educational stream from me, but I'm just gonna go to sleep. So hosted you. Have fun with your breakdown. Thanks, man. Good night.
If Twilight goes to try and save everybody with the Transcendence for this blizzard that's gonna come down from Stratus.
So that's where the defensive shield advantage came in huge. And the anti-nade. Gosh, Guido, that's twice force out Amp Matrix. So Guido is low-key carrying with the Bionades. Force now Amp
Look
Matrix
for Guido at the top of your screen.
Which means that now whenever Vancouver does engage for the next 13 seconds, 12 seconds, my bad, they're not going to have immortality.
One of these biotic
as a win condition
another
against the
three-player
full
one here. He lands a big one during that Transcendence. This is a Justice map win.
The immortality had to be used there as well. I think Justice didn't go 2-0 into the half.
maybe Vancouver is trying to. I mean, they shot the shield up here. It looks like they were trying to copy Washington, but they got pulled off. So.
I think you're right. Janusi with a Bionade as well.
So wall goes up to push up, take space. Shield needs to be down.
Can't take a breather and get that health back for that period of.
Yeah, I don't know what the new shield is. New shield is late. Am I doing any Tracer stuff on this stream today? Then I'll rewatch tomorrow because I need to learn Tracer. I'm going to be playing Tracer myself and coaching myself, but it won't be anything that will be beneficial to a 4.4K player, most likely. I need a learner for my college team.
Time, Corey. It's the headshot on Hureg.
So Nano to keep Sandstorm alive, and then he pops Whole Hog to break shield. And that's Bumper's only shield, so Fortify comes down. Haxel used his wall to take space and to get on point, so now he can't use it defensively against Sandsam. This is the last fight in Stratus's Blizzard, which is also zoning, kind of combos with Sansam's ult. And then the pick on Hureg, which is pretty bad. So Nano Whole Hog with Blizzard. They can trans through it, but then Guido should be able to just get another Bionade. His Bionade should be off cooldown by now.
Starts to get messy. Cover your eyes if you're squeamish.
But already 2 picks, it won't matter.
Some comes in with a Whole Hog. It's going to be a transcendence here for Twilight. Sunsun will happily sit back in the
Jono still got picked.
The corner, and that immortality field was placed too far forward to have any impact. 12 seconds left.
So Washington immediately taking this high ground because they know Vancouver will be rushing to point split, so they don't want to get caught
Corey's in the house and on the ledge.
Rotation.
He's looking for a couple more
if Corey
kills.
gets a pick here, I just want to point out that this first shot from Corey is entirely because of nerves. Like, you're sitting in front of hundreds of people and you hear them all like yelling, and then the music in Overwatch gets louder. There's 10 seconds left and you're nervous, right? And then like you push up to get picks, and the whole weight of the game rests on your shoulders against like a big opponent.
Corey's just in the look at the shot. On the ledge. He's looking for a cover.
Dude, that's 100% nerves. You just kind of look at the person and you don't even move your wrist. You just shoot after like charging your shot. It's autopilot.
More kills. The Dragon Strike in itself may be enough to secure things, as it will prevent the Titans from touching the point properly. Haxel going to try and take the 1v1 against Guido, but
wait, what's healing Guido? Why is he not dead? Wait, where's Art? I guess Art's healing him?
Jana steps in.
Yeah, he is. See, you can see the thing. I was like, holy crap, how did he not die? But yeah, really good play from Jonas coming back and saving him.
Now moving over to the point.
Bad position from Guido. He shouldn't have been pushed up like that. He should have been playing safe.
He's on the...
I got good at her in a mechanical only, so my game sense ain't the best. That's my main obstacle. Yeah, just understanding of how to play with your team and to enable not only yourself but your tanks and the rest of your team is the big difference between a 4.2K player and a 4.4K player.
Yeah, on the Winston here, fair enough. Janu has to go for the wrecking ball, but none of this looks good for the Titans at all. In fact, it looks absolutely abominable. And the Washington Justice take
here. Zoe, play like really feel the best about this, but
so we'll play from Washington. Mostly Hureg's Hanzo was subpar, and then the Bionades, the walls, the pool sleeps, the pool hooks, all forcing out the immortality early from Vancouver was a big win condition for Washington to be able to win those fights. And then also Haxel's use of Mei walls was really bad. Haxel's Mei walls were...
Used Genji's the crutch maybe as soon as they started playing around it. So I think it's just figuring out...
That was kind of a waste of a shield.
Troutman, I beat you to this one, fam! Map 2, baby!
Entering the match, Justice had won all 19 team fights where Corey landed the first a limb as Hanzo or Widow. Won all. So basically, if Corey gets the first pick, they have a 100% win rate. That's kind of nuts.
Yes, it was foretold.
I was about to say, there's our first pick.
Great fight started.
That was like a very, very risky play. That's like a competitive Q play from Mei Reaper. That's pretty Papega. They tried that. And why that wall? That wall's late, dude. Haxel. So, Washington just went for a standard pull hook. Wait.
Corey,
Did they use DM?
great fight starter. He always
No. John is just playing the high ground. I don't know why. And Sinsam just hooks him off high ground. They didn't even need to use the pull, so they just pulled him and then went for a wall. Because he flew up to high ground after the fight had already started, so he doesn't have his flight to go back over the wall. And then he just hooks him and walls him, so he's done. He's dead. I think they used DM right before he got hooked. I don't think so. He didn't DM for Reaper. He was just playing the high ground. I don't know why.
managed to follow up on those first kills from him.
So yeah, that's a huge throw.
He gets brought on in with a haul.
Okay, so this is good and interesting. I don't wait. Hold up. Was there a reason for Ark using immortality?
Follow up on those first kills from him.
It's not up yet.
Johnny getting D-maxes. He gets.
No, he wasted it. See, he's using it just on himself for no reason. It was like after they hooked D.Va that he used it. I think he mostly used it because shield broke, and he didn't want somebody to get. I don't know. There was really no reason to use Ant Matrix. I think it was kind of out of panic, and his mindset would be, oh, if we pick this D.Va, it doesn't matter. We're gonna win the fight anyway, so I can use my immortality just to make sure nobody on my team gets picked by Hureg or Haxel. But either way, it was a waste of an ability, and it was kind of a panic use.
Brought on in with a halt. Now you have the just.
Good pull from Jonas, pulling bumper out from shield, and then shot from Stratus
They were able to get the higher
Discord.
Stratus with another
And Hureg going for a flank again when he's 2 down.
kill. You know, Josh is talking about it during halftime.
Haxel now should just drop in contest and then reset with his team.
But you have seen him really pick up a ton of kills. Like, you expect Mei to close quarters to pick up a ton of kills. But, like, he's connected with, like, Haxel when he was playing Pharah earlier on. Like, he has really done a nice job with the icicles.
That's
being
a really
able to
good
land
contest.
long range. And that's
Good
such
kill
a
from
huge
Slime as
part of
well.
Mei's
That's actually
game
a
that we don't
really good
talk about,
contest.
'cause there's no fall off
They're
after
staggering.
that,
This isn't
right?
a one.
He's able to
This
pump
isn't.
out.
This isn't a winnable team fight. Bumper went Hammond. Why? Are they giving up on Mei Reaper? They've realized they can't win against Washington like that? Or do they think this fight's winnable?
The damage, like she was standing super far away.
Losing Gita here is less than
Because
ideal.
otherwise they're feeding. They pick Gito and try to... Maybe it is winnable, but Corey picking Hureg, the Ant Matrix.
Pretty cyber.
That dragon needs to be
Happy
huge.
birthday, bro. It's not your birthday, but you know, maybe that'll cheer you up a bit. Johnny comes in.
Oh, this
for
is
an
an
out-and-out.
interesting fight.
Giannis.
Trades. It's a very, very, very sloppy team fight from both sides, but no fortify from Jonas. Haxel should be able to get a pick on him.
It's a dome.
Just
It's
'cause
not
Jonas.
necessarily line of sight
Or
related.
Sansam and
Corey
Jonas.
up on the high ground there. Johnny who
Corey
gets
finished
the
off
back,
Janu.
bumper, switch over to Wrecking Ball. He didn't get it back.
Corey, holy
Slime.
crap,
What
he
a
is
freak.
hard
Okay.
carry.
Weak as well. He
I
has
remember
the-
seeing clips and hearing like stats that he broke every Hanzo record on this map, and I see why.
He don't want it.
This looks like he's
Hurek
smurfing
comes
right now.
back, he saves it, gets rid of Corey here. This is starting to devolve a little bit. I think the Justice need to back up.
That's
there,
pretty
and-
pathetic from Washington. They
they
stopped
feel themselves
using their
the field.
cooldowns. It started with Ark wasting
Wow,
his
that's
immortality,
Yeah, okay, you got
and then
me.
I think
You got
after
me,
the first
Chapman.
hook,
That's a great one.
because whenever Sansam hooked the D.Va first, that means that Jonas's pull, he has to either wait 8 seconds for Sansam to have his hook again, or try to get value with his pull somewhere else. And so basically, after you do that, the whole cycle of your ability usage, how it's supposed to be properly used, is off sync, and then it's done. Should Corey have been flanking or shield breaking? So in that team fight, Corey started with the team. Say this is Washington pushing into the choke, right? And then this is Vancouver playing here. So Corey, if he was behind the shield breaking, it would be even/neutral fight. But what Corey can do, because they killed the D.Va, is now Vancouver, besides Hureg's teleport, which he hasn't used yet and he could, has no high ground contest. So Corey, by climbing up, can now shoot down over the shield and go for picks instead. Which if one person, let's say Hureg now, TP's up to contest Corey, Corey can drop back down, be with his team, help with the shield break. And so now it's 6 helping the shield break, and only 5 over here because which is the Reaper, is now contesting Corey, who uses Hanzo double jump to get back down with the team and help with the shield break. So by Corey going up the pressure high ground, which he did get picks, he didn't get contested, he just popped off, was the better decision. Anytime you can take an off angle and go for kills is better than just breaking shield. Breaking shield is better on maps like King's Row, where you can't really take those off angles as much, and the fights are generally a lot more direct, and there's not as much of this high ground where you can take off angles onto teams.
Yeah.
Never have
You
the
read,
Titans been
you
in this
read
situation.
a stat from Ben's little journal over here. You start throwing some shots. Ben hits you.
Hey, RG, what's up? They don't have shield. So, forcing cooldowns is more applied by getting nades, off angling. Like, if you're a BAP, right? Imagine this. You're a BAP and you're looking at your team. Your team is in front of you. And you see a Hanzo who's on high ground unloading his Stormbow into your Orissa's head. You're going to panic and throw your Immortality. It's not even a panic. You have to. Otherwise, your Orisa is going to die. And so you have to throw your Immortality. And if, let's say, he doesn't use Immortality, but instead Orisa fortifies, you're still forcing abilities just by being up here as Hanzo. And Stormbow to force, like, Immortality is 100% worth it. Because Immortality saves the whole team, while Stormbow has potential to kill maybe one person.
With a haymaker, dude, throwing to the back.
They're written there so casters read them.
That's a bad wall. Once again, dude, Haxel needs to work on his Mei. Like, this wall did absolutely nothing. There's a difference between flanking and off-angling. Off-angling takes less time.
It's not my fault I'm the only caster that reads the brief.
Hey, Ben, I'm on your team, dog.
Stratus takes Haxel down there. It's a headshot from Mei, so yeah, you're not going to last very long. Now, Buffer's out of the fight for a brief moment here. Yeah.
I missed.
Yeah, you're not going to last very long.
Stratus picked top soul after that horrible Mei wall. The Ant Matrix to allow for rotation. And then they just kind of rotate around Mei wall. Hammond came in and tried the pile drive from Washington. Or not Washington, but Vancouver. He, I think, tethered here and swung this way. And I think he decided not to pile drive, and instead he rotated all and out. And so now we have Bumper behind him, with Washington being on point. So and John is almost demeched. I don't know. It's kind of Papiga.
Now, Bumper's out of the fight for a brief moment here.
An interesting Ant Matrix. Nobody on the team is going to be able to use this. So I don't know why it was used. One, when you have a pick and they don't have an Orisa, and two, why it was used then.
Yeah, and they lost Janu in the process. Bumper actually gets the sound barrier though, so
they're
he gets in
overulting
close
now
enough to
heavily.
receive it. Janu down though, Stratus lines him up. That Blizzard, yeah, keeps
That's a
Bumper in
very
place as
heavy
well.
overall.
Almost a matter of course here for the Washington Justice. I mean, they're looking great.
What is the answer for the Titans? Like, they have not come up with anything. Like, their Mei Reaper is not looking as good
Hanzo should off angle.
as the Justice is. Especially when you have Janu playing.
Okay, so we are at 54:05. I'll just go back to, we'll just watch Corey. How Corey carries
Brought
first
on
fight.
in with a
So you guys
halt.
can see off angles.
Now you
Boom, off angle. Orisa shield goes down here. Corey has off angle. It's a matter of game sense, right?
you have the Justice who are able to get the high on Stratus with the
Hureg now is off angling. Washington's shield is this way. Corey's playing on the high ground here. And Hureg TP's to here to off angle as Reaper. And that's more of a flank than an off angle because he's behind them.
another kill. A ton of kills. Like you like Farah
Well, look how
earlier
Corey
on, like
comes
he has
back.
really done a nice that we don't really talk about because there's no fall off damage with that, right? She's able to pump out the damage like she was standing next to you from far away.
So Ant Matrix comes back, and this isn't as much of an off angle
less
as
than
much as
ideal.
it is. He's just using
The
Ant
Matrix
Matrix
up
to
there
get
now.
kills.
Pretty cyber.
A really good off angle example would be Shield 1, Shield 2, and then Corey goes up here to shoot behind Shield 1. That's a good off angle, and it requires 2 seconds at most to climb up and take this position, and then 1 second to double jump back and be back down with the team. That's a good off angle example. And at worst, at the very, very least, it forces D.Va to fly just to contest you. and then you jump back. And there's no risk involved.
Happy birthday, bro. It's not your birthday.
So 54-5.
Hits you with a haymaker, dude, and hooked himself. Like, if he's not able to eat some of these halts, where we've seen him get halted and hooked
That's an interesting
himself
wall.
a few times.
Washington's taking high ground.
You gotta
leaving a point. Probably Arcanic
you gotta
though.
make some changes here.
Trying to think.
If you're the Titans.
That's a good off angle. He's shooting over shield. But now, because of the pace of the team fight, because Vancouver swapped to Moira Lucio, he can't off angle because the off angle won't be valuable for as long because Vancouver's rotating so aggressively. Corey understands that, and that's why he begins to rotate in advance instead of holding that off angle for longer.
Point, it'll be a blizzard that kicks things off here from
It's a good dragon.
Very aggressive blizzard, but it looks
That dragon is like a defensive peel. I think mostly Washington just kind of got overwhelmed by the engagement from Vancouver. Vancouver did actually have a really solid engagement with Moira Lucio. Then Reaper Mei. Like, that's the best they've played this comp all series. It was right there, and it caught Washington off guard.
Great. Multiple players from the Justice got frozen there. Hureg is carving. Hureg was here 2019 in the war. Go down.
He memed on him, dude.
You have an opportunity to
That's a Reddit.
fights, though. If you take a look at the top of your screen on the Justice side,
It's a
they're
fresh
really
nuts,
close
dude.
to the Ant Matrix and Trans.
And double sniper, is it the Widow who takes the off angles or Hanzo? Both. That's the whole point of double sniper. You have a three-way attack. You have Orisa and Hog going for pull hooks here. Then you have Widow shooting this way. And you have Hanzo shooting this way. And if you're the defending team, if you're Reinhardt, you can't block all angles. In your Orisa, you can do a little bit better, but you still can't block all angles. That's the whole point of double sniper, is that you're just going to get an unbelievable amount of pressure and kills one way or another. And so that's the reason why also double sniper has to be played against double sniper, is because you need the snipers to contest each other to fight for those angles. So if your Hanzo picks your Hanzo, but then your Widows like both stay alive. Like, let's say a Widow picks a Hanzo and a Widow picks a Hanzo, right? Now it's a Widow 1v1. If the Widows are not fighting for the same angle but holding different angles, then it's whichever Widow picks the most players in that team fight wins, or whichever Widow picks the other, etc.
Here for the Titans. I mean,
hopefully that wasn't confusing.
So much.
Pool bomb, and then actually that wall was nuts. Did Sansam just try to hook the bomb?
For such a very
Hello?
simple ultimate there. Blizzard gets a lot of value. Wall comes
Immortality
up.
goes up.
Oh dear,
Slime's a little bit out of position.
He was
Yeah,
trying to
that's
set up the
pretty
bomb
bad.
for Johnny. He would have gone forward. But the
No,
wall put up actually.
Sansam. Crap. Did Vancouver wall behind
Blocked
Sansam,
him
or
from
did?
getting back to his.
I don't think he did. That's a really good wall from Stratus, though. It's just Stratus is Mei, honestly, dude. I'm so impressed. People, I've heard this match talked about a lot. So many people just talked about how hard Corey carried. And Jonas has made the most mistakes, in my opinion. But holy crap, man. Stratus is Mei. It's almost perfect. I wouldn't be, like, he deserves MVP for this fight. If he doesn't get, I'll be mad. He won't get it.
Oh,
Like,
dear.
he's not the star, but it's beautiful.
Trying something there. Giannis shuts him down. No one. Corey
I bet it's going to be Corey.
again with another multi-killer in that fight.
Corey's hard carrying mechanically, but Stratus is hard carrying mentally. The micro plays he's making with his wall.
T-Mobile MVP, right?
Both of them getting smoked presently.
Well, Janu,
Good
I was going to say
stagger.
Janu and Twilight, both obviously in that top 5, and well deserved with what they've done through stages 1 through 3. But in stage 4, it's very interesting because Janu now is forced to play some Roadhog, which.
So this is an off angle. So the difference between an off angle and a flank. In Overwatch, you have team the space that your team controls. So you have your main tank on team 1, and main tank on team 2, right? And then you have the neutral space. Okay. So this line that you have, if Corey plays on side 1 or 2 of the line, that's an off angle. But if he goes across the line, that's a flank, right? More like you can go here and it still is considered an off angle or a flank. It's kind of both, but this is like a definite flank. So that's kind of the difference between off angle and a flank. The main thing with off angle is you don't get as much value as a flank where you're just looking at the back line. But with an off angle, you still do have a way behind shield that you can get picks. But then it's one step away from getting peeled from your team and healed, repositioned, etc. Where you're still playing safe.
Haven't really seen that much in this series. And
so where he's playing right now is an off angle because you have Washington and Vancouver space, right? Vancouver's actually behind, so that's their space. It goes like behind the wall, and then you have all this neutral space that Corey is using. So what he's doing right now is he's playing at the far left of his team, and he's using this off angle to control the neutral space. And so if Vancouver was to dive and pressure Corey, they wouldn't be contesting the rest of the team pushing cart. So that's the difference. And that's the value of off angle.
Twilight in a lot of these scenarios is forced over from like Zen to like Moira or Ana. And we've seen him do nice things on Ana in the past, but the Moira.
Ooh, Stratus, he blizzards the cart so that Vancouver has to run into the blizzard to contest the cart. I like it. I like it a lot. So the first dragon to force Vancouver away from the shield and out into the open, and then they blizzard the cart so that Vancouver has to run into the blizzard. Oh, that's five-ended.
Very difficult to have like as big of an impact.
Coalescence keep Jonas alive. That's pretty bad focus fire or follow-up coming in. They use immortality because their shield's broken. The problem is with Washington right now is that they don't have any damage ults, right? If they just had Amp Matrix or Supercharger, they would have won the fight as soon as the Blizzard went down because they could combo Blizzard with Supercharger and they would have immediately been able to demech Jonas. Because Vancouver doesn't have any more ults, they won't have Blizzard this fight. Washington should be able to win this fight because Vancouver's going to have to continue pushing onto the cart, which means they're going to receive more damage. Yoki, can you have individual height? Wait. Yoki, can you have individual skill high enough to beat anyone at anything? Can you have individual skill high enough to beat anyone at anything? So first, identify skill. Skills, I would say, is raw mechanical skill, 1v1, the ability to know where to position, to play, etc., etc. To beat anyone, I would say no, because the higher up you play, the harder it is to reach a higher ceiling, right? So you're limited by your own physical abilities as a human. So professionals, Overwatch League players, are as close as you can be to that human limit. And so as you get closer and closer to that human limit, what you can do in-game with your cooldowns, what you can do with your reaction time, etc., there's so many people that are at that level that you can't be better than that to beat them all, right? We have the MVPs like Sinatra who will beat most of the Tracers in a Tracer 1v1, but it's impossible for Sinatra to get so good that he beats everybody who is also at that level. In newer games, this is why you see, like, I'll use Fortnite even though I don't want to. You see Fortnite, whenever it came out, you had the earlier pros like Ninja and Tfue who hopped on the game and got really good really fast, who had been pros in other games. Then they were so skilled they could beat anyone because so many new players hadn't worked their way up to that level yet. So that's kind of why. Tony Toast OW, thank you for the follow. Game sense. Game sense, having better game sense. It's a little bit different because game sense is more directly tied to your ability usage, timing, and stuff. I would say Stratus right now is 100% outplaying Vancouver just based off of game sense and the coaching that's been invested into him, how he uses his abilities. This Blizzard, right? He's going to win this fight just because of how he uses Blizzard. Could any Overwatch team randomly get a player that beats everyone? No. The examples of that is like DeFran. DeFran came in, he was automatically good. He was one of the best. But it doesn't change the fact that DeFran wasn't hard carrying Atlanta Reign. Atlanta Reign was playing really well around DeFran. They were enabling DeFran. DeFran wasn't like the hard carry. There's obviously better players, like Corey being added to Washington Justice. Corey's obviously helping Washington do better and win more games, but Corey is not hard carrying Washington. You couldn't get 5 bronze and play Corey, and Corey have aimbot and still win. That's why you see the YouTube videos of people who use aimbot and lose to pro players because it's impossible to hard carry like that.
This will be a Blizzard trying to coalesce with John who gets deep back.
It feels bad.
Corey picks up Hureg.
Twilight's coalescence wasn't enough to keep Johnny inside that mech. That's gonna hurt. And they're kind of out of position now, the Titans. They're not really in a great spot to contest here. A lot of walls being thrown up here. Corey just trying to peek under it there.
This is just a delayed cleanup. Vancouver's doing everything they could to continue to contest him, but there's nothing you can do. Whenever you have to contest cart into a Blizzard and you already use all your resources just to contest, you can't sustain enough to gain an advantage to get kills and win the fight. It's impossible.
He was like one short, and he's doing it here now again.
He has 13 final blows. The Titans as a team have 14. That's what I would have said. Maybe with a little bit of extra.
So Vancouver, what are you doing? They switched off the Reaper, which means that now they can't speed boost engage and sustain with the Moira to gain advantage that way. And instead, they're playing mirror comp, but with the wrong support duo, right? So this is... Washington has super high damage ultimate, and then has a primary fire that also deals damage, which can help shield break. Zen, which has really high damage, which helps with shield break, that's why he's picked. But then you have Vancouver Titans, who are going to be immobile. They're not going to be repositioning much because Hureg can't keep up with that pace, right? You have, if they want to go through the shield, Hureg gets no value, and he can't keep up with that pace. So why do you have the Lucio? Just for the beat, if you're going to keep Lucio for the beat and then Moira, Hureg needs to stay on Reaper, right? And then if you're going to have Moira is to keep up with the pace of Lucio. But once again, you're either going to have to play slow to keep Hureg in the fight to play for shield break, but if you're doing that, then you don't have half the shield break that Justice does, or you can be playing fast to go through the shield, but then Hureg's not going to be able to do any damage because you're going through the shield without breaking it. So, Vancouver, that's I blame Hureg. He should have just did on Reaper. I probably felt like, oh, I'm not doing anything on Reaper. But, like, it doesn't matter, dude. You're going to do even less on Hanzo because of what it just said.
You know what, though? I mean, this is like, as much as we kind of talk about like how like this is a breakout game maybe for the Justice, and the Titans maybe not getting a grasp of the meta. Right. This is one of the better damage dealer performances we've seen over the first 2 seasons of Overwatch League here from Corey today.
Oh, Hanzo Sickle in the corner. Corey's kept alive by the immortality field though, and Sansa might be able to clear the way with the whole hog. Axel takes 5, wall up. Doesn't.
Let me go back. Sorry, look at the engagement. So what Vancouver did is, like I just said, they speed boost engaged hard through the shield, right? And Washington then just backed up, used Immortality, planted a new shield, and they're just holding the space, right? They engaged speed boost and Blizzard. That's what Vancouver did. And they're pushing to take the space and get kills off of Blizzard. But their damage is back here. You can't even kill anybody yet. So that's where he messed up. Imagine if he was instead of Reaper, who was in front of Bumper going through the shield, and right now he was killing, because you could do that on a Reaper. You have a TP and a Wraith. You 100% capable of doing that on a Reaper, and that's why he should have stayed on a Reaper.
So Overwatch League here from Corey today.
Oh, Hanzo Sickle in the corner. Corey's kept.
First kill is from Sam punishing Bumper, because Bumper's pushing up, and then he just used Whole Hog and pushed him right back. And they didn't get any kills out of that Blizzard engagement. They used beat Blizzard, speed boost, and Coalescence and get no kills.
Clear the way with the whole hog. Axel.
They finally killed John.
Doesn't want to fight Corey. Stratus could be in trouble though. He is forced to do the same.
So trade maintain for maintain. Difference being sustained. So actually Vancouver now has a slight advantage because there's no shield break, right? No team has a shield. So it's just a brawl, and Moira Lucio do better in a brawl than Babzen. So Vancouver actually has the advantage right now.
Here for Johnny, so an opportunity for Sun to find a better one.
Difference being Corey. Corey versus Hureg and Hanzo. That's the big difference. I have the mentality of being able to do so good that I can change any game. Depends on your SR. If Kabaji, for example, it took him 12 hours to make a new account. Get it to he already got it to level 25, But it took him 12 hours to get that new account, do the placements to get it to Grandmaster. Maybe he even did top 500, I'm not sure. No, it would only make sense if he did Grandmaster. Unranked to GM, probably. But either way, he's so good at Tracer that he got an account 12 hours. And that's not in-game, that's actually 12 hours. Like, he woke up and in one sitting, he got an account, did the placements and got it to GM. It's possible to be that good. Yeah, the Fran playing 50 games as Soldier, exactly. It's possible to be that good. But the difference being, the Fran Soldier, after he gets the 4.3k, he can't continue playing Soldier and be so good that he gets a 4.6. Because the skill group gets so much tighter, and it's so much harder to be better than everybody who's already that good. It's impossible, right? There's the basics, there's the advanced, there's the micro, and then after that, it's just team play. There's not more stages of being good, right? You get to that point, there's people who are better at small things that put them ahead of the game and get them better, or the people who have better accuracy by like 10%. That makes a huge difference. But in lower ranks, you can have an accuracy difference of like 50, right? Because people are that bad at lower ranks.
He doesn't. The level up is fishing.
No ultimates
So
for
I
the
just
Titans.
follow the meta of DPS and focus of all my ability and when tricking the best to get good. Learn heroes one by one. Add heroes to your hero pool. Learn Pharah, get your Pharah really good. Then learn Hanzo, get your Hanzo really good. Learn Genji, get your Genji really good. Learn Mei, get your Mei really good because Mei is the current meta, right? Like, assuming you're flex DPS.
Stratus with a Blizzard could put this one away, but
one way or another, one has a
getting
hero
hit with a
pool.
halt.
So good for Titans getting the first pull hook, and I think they actually, yeah, they did. That also did force out Washington's Ant Matrix. So now Vancouver should, after the Immortality field goes away, take a hard engagement.
And in the hook, so Johnny finally switches the road.
Stratus at Blizzard's actually late because they're already threw in front of your Blizzard. He threw his Blizzard that way. Whenever 3 are already behind him, he threw his Blizzard, then turned around.
Still they commit with this Blizzard. This is crazy to me. Bumper enters the...
So, I take that back. The Blizzard actually, while it didn't freeze them, it split them. And that was mostly a mistake from Bumper, Janu, and Twilight. And maybe, and Slime to push up and play here. Because Shield went down, Blizzard went down, and then Sam, Jonas just split them. That's horrible. That's way too much blue. I'm sorry. But
what was that? Okay, so he enters
so
the
that was too aggressive. Like I said, after the Immortality field goes away. That was before.
With a halt and in the hook. So Johnny finally switches the...
No, it was after. Was that my bad then?
Still they commit with...
No, Stratus just punished him. So maybe it was my bad. I apologize then. I guess that was my fault. Stratus just carried that hard. He Blizzard and then turned around and froze Bumper. What am I forgetting? Am I forgetting something? Let me go back. They picked Corey, not the main tank. It's the difference. My head's
Blizzard, this is crazy to me. Bumper enters the...
Either way, Stratus
okay,
turned
so
around and punished him.
That
was good. That was really good for Stratus. Good from Twilight.
Comes out. So then he doesn't have the fortify to just walk
from the
away when
hook.
the Blizzard comes through. And that's kind
And
of
really good from Washington pushing up this advantage after killing
Gets slightly
Bumper.
frozen and then hit the...
They're hard pushing this advantage.
So timed it
Really good freeze. And now Bumper should die before he even gets a shield down.
incorrectly. It could be an inexperience issue for Bumper. Never thought I'd say that, but here we are. It is in fact the current year. Twilight
That's
dedicated...
good push. Good push.
Like this has been well too. I
There's
mean,
no
you have players, all right.
Moments of the last week or so that it's the Titans.
Vancouver prepared, right? they're 22-1, dude. They prepared. Sorry, that was just side. But they prepared. Like the difference being, whenever you're Vancouver, and you're as good as you are, but then you go against a team who's 4-19, whose only wins are like against kind of Papega teams. And then like 1 or 2 wins that they shouldn't have gotten. You don't want to invest too much time into preparation, The biggest problem from Vancouver is I don't think they're just slow to adapt to the meta. Vancouver always has been, from goats to bunker, from different kinds of goats. They were always kind of slow. That's why Shock beat them, is they were just a little bit slow to adapt to the evolution of goats. Vancouver's always been slow to adapt to the meta, but then once they get the hang of it, they're normally pretty good. The problem with the Overwatch League right now is, as metas are created, you have one way to play the game, and then that way is countered, which changes the first way to counter the second way. Then the second way is created to the fourth way to counter the third way, right? And so Vancouver seems to be always one step behind. They're never the team that invents the new way, right? Washington right now is being the team that invents kind of the new way, or at least it was quicker to learn the new way than Vancouver was. So Vancouver's like a little bit behind. Haxel's Mei is a lot worse than Stratus's. Hureg's Hanzo and Reaper doesn't compare to Corey, and then Twilight's BAP doesn't compare to Arcs, right? Like they're just behind. They're slow. Thanks for the follow, Shot. But yeah, like Vancouver's just slow to adapt, and so it wasn't necessarily preparation. I think it's a lot more of adaptation to new strategies and metas.
And so this isn't embarrassing. I would only be embarrassed if I got beaten by a lesser team, and that's not what the Justice are today.
That's true. I mean, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, the Justice today, I think, can clearly say that they are the better team through the first 2 games.
What is the meta right now? This comp. Mostly this comp, and then a little bit of this comp. Either BAP with Ana or BAP with Zen. One of those two. Ana on defense because you want the nano to sustain, and then Zen on attack because you need the extra damage for shield break. That's the meta. Vancouver, the comp they're running is a lot more for hard engagements, playing extremely aggressive and getting immediate value, and also having like fast, strong rotations because you can use your wall, your shield, and your DM to help rotate with speed boost. And then comps Washington's playing is a lot more about shield break, and then the one with Zen is even more about shield break. The big thing is the one that Washington's playing is just hard counter to pull hooks, right? You just want to destroy pull hooks. Vancouver's is also hard against pull hooks, even harder actually because you have the Diva, but it's a lot more of hard engagements. Washington's is more playing the pull hook and the shield break.
I would say though, if you're the Titans,
so if you're playing Vancouver's comp against Washington's, like, what you have to figure out and what you have to do is how do you engage through their increased damage, right? They're going to have pull hooks, they're going to have immortality, you're not going to have immortality, they're going to have Hanzo damage. So how do you speed boost through that, not get Maywalled, and get kills through the immortality and through Ana's healing, right? That's what Vancouver has to do. And you do that by walling like Orisa from the Mei, from the Hog, from the BAP, and then Hureg going in like two-shotting them, but Corey's actually nuts and picks Hureg. So
everybody,
they gotta wait.
Hureg just it's Groundhog Day for him out.
Like I just said, Vancouver has to wall and split Jonas and then have Hureg go and kill them. So with Washington being on high ground, I don't know how Vancouver's going to do that. Unless, I mean, you have to rotate this way, which is really bad because then Corey can shoot your back. If they need to switch off this comp. Unless they're going to, yeah, they need to switch off the comp. You can't go point and sustain against Washington because Washington's playing for shield break. You cannot do that. You'll lose.
I feel like we've talked a ton about it.
Vancouver needs to go switch.
Lights out today. I mean, Corey is putting on a performance that...
Bro, he's so lights out, he's almost armored. There's no electricity at all. No appliance.
Corey is like
I got it the first time.
psyched to win this game, dude.
Didn't need your breakdown on that one.
Oh dear.
Corey, please tell me how to look at it.
Why are you fighting Corey, by the way? Yeah, that was ill.
So what Vancouver did is they tried to rush and contest point, and they had Hureg flanker on the back like this, so that whenever Washington drops to contest, and Washington shields this way, Hureg will then be able to farm the back line. But two things happened. One, Corey is already in the back line and can kind of contest his flank. And two, Washington doesn't have to drop. They can stay on high ground.
Now, Hureg's still an issue behind the dump.
Or they walled and had less teams. So whenever they walled, it was just 3, and then they dropped 5 onto 3. So there's 5 that literally dropped onto 3 with immortality, and then they just clean them up, kill them.
Yeah. Oh.
And then Corey clowned on Hureg again, dude. He's nuts.
Why not, dude? Just throw the Dragon Strike out. Who cares?
That's a greedy dragon.
You're right. He's absolutely cracked. I agree,
he's crushing, bro. Okay.
I love how it's just the caster just laughing at how good Corey is. He's crushing, bro.
Damage. The next time, okay, so
he's got 10k damage.
He's got almost, yeah, he's close to like 11k damage. The next highest on the Justice is Stratus at 6k.
He's a whole 5k in damage above Washington. And the fact that Stratus is beating Jonas and Sansam, that's nuts, dude. Sansam should, on paper, be doing more damage than Stratus.
And I laugh not because it's so much fun, it's just ridiculous.
It's just fun watching somebody play this good.
2 walls up. Corey.
Okay, Melio, what you said earlier about being able to carry games. Corey is actually doing that. But the difference is you can't repeat these results consistently, and he's actually just 100% in the zone, in his element. He is 100% focused, playing perfectly well with his team, and Vancouver's not playing that great. If this was a mirror matchup, Corey wouldn't be able to beat himself.
No, he's back in the cafe, not the house this time. It's the cafe. I mean, I guess without furniture, it's a house, but we know it's a cafe. Storm Arrow comes out. No one really bothered by that one too much there. Hulk in, coalescence below ground here to prevent that pick off. Upper still looking okay for now. Yeah, he needed that shield. The timing was pretty good on the cooldown. Corey not really bothered, and amplification matrix comes up. I feel like I've seen this one.
Now they try the rotator on the back on a comp that has to engage to kill, not to contest point and sustain, right? And so they engage to contest point and sustain, and then Washington drops down, and their comp just does it 10 times better. They have increased damage and survivability. Whenever Vancouver only has burst damage. Which they can't use the burst damage because they use it to speed onto a point instead of onto a target to kill them. It's basically like... What they're running is basically like goats in the sense of you're using it to engage onto space and get kills with your presence. And whenever they engage onto a space where nobody is, they're not going to get the value with that engagement, and they're not going to be able to secure the kills.
The inner Roadhog's hook he's become awfully familiar with so far, and I wonder where Hureg's going to the high ground now in Wraith form. He's going to take this fight if he can, but Corey gets frozen solid now.
That's a huge
chance
blizzard.
to get his revenge, but Slime.
Haxel walled Hureg off. He walled himself off. And then he died. So he walled here so that Washington couldn't escape. But he ended up walling off their biggest source of damage.
Took the kill away, regardless. The
yeah, it should be lost regardless. Wait, maybe not. This is possible solo carry. So they have Immortality, they have Blizzard. Hureg already used TP and Wraith. So Jonas should kill Hureg, should kill Janu, but prioritize Twilight over Janu if Janu can't fade.
Roll here.
So this is winnable.
Late Blizzard from the Justice here. Jonas
Supercharger as well.
They got out.
Johnny's in deep trouble.
Holy
Jonas was
crap.
in the perfect position to pick that one up here and watch the Justice turn around again.
So good.
Oh,
the way they use their abilities, it's so good. Holy crap.
Down below.
Just Immortality, Blizzard, and Amp Matrix. Increase damage. Restrict the other team's movement and their ability usage. Freeze them, stun them all, right? And then you're unkillable. You're standing in Immortality. So whenever you're immortal, you deal increased damage, and the other team can't move, use abilities. Yeah, you can 3v6, dude. That's so good. They're playing so well.
90 seconds. Stratus, big Blizzard.
You have Arc now with the Ant Matrix, Corey with another dragon. As Corey picks up Hacksaw, just standing in the choke.
That's a huge stagger.
The Titans, careful though, like Whole Hog, get that wasted. And then all it takes is the M-Matrix and Corey to just be able to pick off a player or two, and that ends a push.
Ureg now on the flank.
Okay, so the pull hook, which I believe just hit Jonas, who was fortified, still forced out Immortality, which was kind of a panic from Arc. No, Arc was about to die, that's why he used Immortality. He's 1 HP. But now Hureg, who's on this flank with the Death Blossom, should be able to secure a couple kills with it, unless Sansam hooks him or Corey headshots him. Those are like the 2 ways that he doesn't get kills with this Blossom. But this Blossom should destroy the Immortality and kill the team.
Needs to get some work done. Goes for the Death Blossom. There is.
Okay, so just by the time he destroyed Immortality, they'd already killed him, so good Focus Fire. And then Amp Matrix went up. Oh well.
An Immortality field placed up. That's all he managed to get.
I underestimated Immortality.
Now the amplification matrix is dropped on the high ground. The Titans, though, aren't really in position to be.
Let me fix quality. Nope, it's not gonna fix itself. Okay.
Subject to that. Sansan pulled off the edge. He should have a
Since
chance
I'm
to take
pulled
the breather in.
involved,
He
that's
does.
bad.
Stratus, though,
Yeah, he's dead.
is just going to freeze Huxel from the high ground. We see Yanu go up there and just try and keep them a little bit busy. That could be an impending D-suit. It has to be a self-destruct by Janu. He probably doesn't feel great.
That's a really good pick from Stratus to D-suit Janu and waste bomb. Because otherwise Washington, whenever they contest and use their shield, then he can bomb through it and get kills that way. Being down now Sansam and not really having any ults, they're coming up on Blizzard, so he can Blizzard point, but he just farmed like 30% of Blizzard. Once he is Blizzard point, if Sansam comes back, they can end a whole hug and probably win the fight off of that.
Looking for a little bit more from.
Notice Vancouver used 4 ults just on the engagement, which only got 1 kill, and that 1 kill was completely unrelated to the ultimates they used.
From that ultimate, normally, Alley-oop goes Stratus onto the point there. Now he's going to throw the Blizzard down once more. Bumper is caught up in it, but Stratus has to be careful.
Good Immortality. They nanoed Corey. So Sansam's still not back. Choose to nano Corey instead. Jonas contesting point. Stratus contesting point. Stratus might die to Reaper though. He should get actually frozen in time.
Great Immortality field thrown down, but it might take a little bit more than that. Maybe Corey needs to step up again? Question mark? He's looking for it. Gonna try and get in Huxel's way here. Huxel trying to complete the kill though, and Arc does go down. Sometimes it only goes so far.
That's actually
during the whole hog, Sansam couldn't take action. It was an easy pick off for people who managed
Vancouver's
to surround
really
him.
kept that. Yeah, so just Sansam getting picked. And then because Sansam got picked and because Washington never really got a pull hook and never really used their amplification matrix, which they used early to force cooldowns, whenever the Blizzard did come in, they had Fortified, they had Wraith, they had Fade, and those abilities were used to sustain in the Blizzard instead of using the Blizzard to get kills. So that's a mistake from Sansam, one for getting hooked, and then mostly from the rest of Washington just not backing up, giving up some point, and contesting and playing for shield break and to force abilities. That's what they should have done.
This goes down. It will be the Titans. Just at the end, managed to get the payload going.
Gets knocked out, splits him off. So we haven't really seen
Sombra. Don't know what the win condition is here for
this
Sombra.
combo too much with the EMP plus I guess you're gonna EMP Blizzard. Usually when you see
EMP
Sombra
Blizzard's
play,
not
you
good.
expect some more flankers as you're gonna play more of a dive.
I mean,
Ray goes for
it's not even a DB hit a hack.
Yeah, Corey found that.
Oh, what?
That's what's the count for that, chat? Corey has clowned on Hureg how many times? Just clipped him? I don't know, dude.
Okay.
2 picks straight for Sansam, then they use Supercharger and Coalescence. Supercharger Coalescence can actually secure a lot of kills. But does Arc have Immortality? I think he does. No, he doesn't.
That's filthy. Yeah.
He's the Blizzard. So, a little bit of Hureg shouldn't have gone to Sombra, in my opinion. One, I think they're just thinking that EMP is their win condition.
Tries to get in there, and he's just having the roughest game possible.
It's just so hard to farm EMP against what Washington's running. You have Corey contesting you everywhere you go, who's been popping off. The best thing you can do against Vancouver is keep running Mei Reaper.
Corey just gonna try and play behind.
Holy crap,
That's one of
what's
those
this quality?
plays. I mean, you get hit like
I don't think
that,
it's me. It
like,
might have actually been
there
recorded
ain't
like
nothing
this.
you can do.
This is awful.
Hurek tries to get in there, and he's just having the
I'm
roughest
sorry,
game.
this is awful. Yeah, that's not me. That's actually, like, the quality.
So they've not been able to build up
The
towards
VOD
the
is in.
EP in that fight. The
So,
Justice will come back. They'll have a dragon.
let's just
they'll have a
assume
supercharged
Vancouver
Matrix.
did
So
something good and
for
won
the
the fight.
Justice.
Sorry. I'm
Exactly.
not watching
also,
that
pay
quality.
attention at the top when Guido, when he's been on the Ana, he's
Pull
been
hook,
able to
pull
land a
hook.
lot of
That's how
biotic
much pull
grenades.
hook right there.
His ankle's not going to be great here, though. Dragon
A
strike
halt in the
through.
dragon.
Slime is down already. Giannis doesn't have a barrier anymore. Johnny's in deep trouble. He's trying to get away with that amplification. Matrix space life just that little bit harder. Great Blizzard.
That's bad from Washington. Using Blizzard on point and then using Whole Hog to get them off the point. They didn't plan that one, chat, did they?
A lot of ultimates being used here for the Justice, though, and I mean a lot. But they put the Titans in a one-fight scenario here. Remember, these picks from Corey can be enough to decide a fight on their own.
He's just about everything, though. Slime's going to have to speed boost everybody back.
This was the first time the Titans went into a half-time without a map win. This might be the first time they looked at a 3-0. That would have been it there, too. Hurek gonna try
Washington
and
doesn't have much winning condition at all.
He almost does. He doesn't want to get picked off. Being off the Shane.
He's gonna have to wait. I'm gonna predict that Sansam. No, he's not gonna hook him out of it. I think Corey is one of the best players now. I agree, 100%. I would have made that statement in stage 2, probably. No, not stage 2, stage 3. I would have made that statement. I think he was always like really good. I've played against him before, and he's so hard to play against, especially his Widow. Dude, his Widow's so good. His Widow's so good.
Supercharger laid down.
That's a good pull. If you're Hurek right now, does EMP go through Ice Block? I don't think it does.
Here, Holt thrown. Stratus is pulled to the low ground now. The Supercharger is out of position. Hurek seems to have revealed himself. Sansan can't get away from the Blizzard here, though.
They just use Blizzard. They save the EMP. Where did he translocate to?
They're
coming at the fight.
No, can't protect yourself. He doesn't have the cooldown available.
Mortality
but it's a
goes
one-for-one
up.
trade.
There's
Both
the
Roadhogs
EMP,
are down, and
that's
now it's going to be
the
the EMP dropped in, but Giannis is being healed
Corey
up so much.
can't get enough
Giannis
fix
gets
to carry
taken
this.
down from the high ground now. It's going to be Guido to drop on in. Corey
Vancouver
couldn't get
can
anything
win
done.
again.
Those slime
Wow.
shuts him
I'm
down.
impressed.
Then the Vancouver Titans will not go quietly into that night.
I'm impressed. Good job,
They managed to
Vancouver.
push up. They'll have themselves.
They might have found their niche.
No ultimates.
Sound
But
for
it seems
Mei.
like with the way they're playing,
Another
they're
back on Reaper.
similar
From
to
close
build up
range.
these ultimates towards the end.
Smart, I approve.
Holt thrown in. Axel.
Good pull clip. Pull hook.
No resurrect able.
Axel, when did he use his Ice Block, or did he not? I think he did.
Thrown
And
in.
he
Axel.
just pay good.
They'll have him for dinner. No resurrect
Did he use his
able.
Ice Block?
See no mercy here. Also no mercy to character in the game.
Have to back
Alright,
up.
that's 2 picks.
That's that.
Last fight
One
now.
more push.
I'm gonna have beat Coalescence and Supercharger.
Like that. I mean, they don't really have a
But Shardis Blizzard to swap 2 D.Va, most likely 2 each Shardis Blizzard, and to help with the rotation and get on a point.
really great option to do so. Yeah, obviously, just finishing in general.
Because being on Hog is not
Going
going
to
to
be a
do
worry
anything
here.
for you if you're
You're going to have
Vancouver.
Nano Boost plus the Amp Matrix here for the
Plus,
Justice
if
and
Hurek goes
Blizzard.
back to
They're ready.
Reaper.
You might be about to see something absolutely crazy, Overwatch League viewers. Corey sat in the back corner there.
There's Amp Matrix and Blizzard down on the cart, which Washington has to contest. Both defensive ults go out. Should be able to keep Jono alive. And so now, if they stay alive through this, and then they're able to use Supercharger with a split target from Ice Wall, Vancouver can win this. Vancouver can definitely win this, but it
Paulus is thrown out, but there is a Blizzard in there. Jono was the one frozen down to Salmer.
What did he get pulled out of? No, he just got
Flame was good, but
melted.
it doesn't keep the mech alive. Dragon Strike going through. Johnny takes a big hit for now, but Corey finds his head. Storm Arrow's good. Hook is better.
Yeah,
Axel
it's
gets bored in,
That
taken
hook-
down.
the hook on Johnny
Fun for the
hit
rest of
it.
the team trying to stay alive on the payload with the Supercharger down, but there's damage, sure.
That's
There's
game.
just no shielding for the Vancouver Titans. Hurek knows they want to push through. To get some impact in this game on the Reaper. Death Blossom is available for him, but he needs to be careful. He's playing around the shield. He gets else is there. They moved up.
Oh, what am I doing skipping?
Death Blossom is available for him, but he needs to be careful. He's playing around the shield.
Corey,
He gets taken down
holy
immediately.
crap.
Again, it's Corey. Arc stepping up
Immortality
to the point now with
from Tess.
that immortality field
And
when no
then-
one else is there. They moved up the payload. They couldn't
Yeah.
get there.
Unlucky, dude.
Charlie 9 rears the ugly head once more. Not pretty.
So they have overtime now.
Not possible for them at all. They can only draw.
Oh, so it's still game. Yeah. It's only a draw.
Draw at best. And that's at the end here against the Titans. Oh, you want to clean it up.
Yeah, I thought that lost too. That's why like I started skipping.
One for final blows set in a single match.
Corey's 30 final blows, 8 deaths right now. It's just filthy.
They were just able to contest and re-engage with Blizzard.
Justice now take it easy. I mean, they'd love to get the clean win, right? They'd love to take that 4-0. No draws here, fam. To the high ground he goes. Bumper sleeping currently. This is a great opening. No shield. War put up there. Segment bumper off from the rest of his team. Trying to see with a biotic grenade. Hooray!
What did they do here? Wall to stop damage to get another shield down.
Bumper sleeping currently. This is a great opening.
Corey's not able to get any immediate value, and so now we see Vancouver start to push in. Johnny's bionated. Where's Stratus? Immortality's not down. Hooray teleported in onto Stratus. Wow. So they teleported in with an Orisa pool. That's a good combo. So you pull 2 Reapers so you can just go for immediate one-shot.
Hooray! Wow, that was a teleport
And
forward.
there's Yana.
Crazy aggressive.
Corey, dude. That's 5 times now that I've seen obvious that he just destroys Hureg.
Oh!
Immortality goes down onto Guido, maybe somewhere in between here. I don't see it.
You know we had to do it to you.
But it's good. Forces an early shield from Bumper and Coalescence, so this shield's not going to be on cooldown whenever they have to contest that corner.
Justin's trying to keep Bumper up. He gets really low. The Ant Matrix used here by the Justice.
Corey no pugs.
It just creates a
soft reset from Washington to let ults trade. They're all coming up to take high ground from Corey, but they're not just doing it to take it from Corey. They're also doing it so that they can engage from high ground, I guess. It's the only thing they can do with it because they have to contest point.
Space around the corner. Is the Titans deciding now whether they want to take high ground?
Now they're not deciding it. They should have committed. Now they're in a bad situation where they shielded second. Pull hook from Jonas. Waiting for the DM. The pull hook should come out now. No pull hook. Okay.
Oh my!
Who is this guy? It's Corey. Bro, I want to see these picks. That's nuts.
Alright, Bumper's still alive thanks to that coalescence, so the shield is possible still.
1. From here, through the tanks, onto Haxel. Holy crap. And then 2, on Slime crossing.
Oh my gosh, Corey!
And then throws the dragon, he takes the high ground. Watch him headshot. Watch him headshot.
Out of control, goes for the Dragon Strike, throws it in. Look at what Twilight and extensive packing. Oh, take a bow, Corey. And the Washington Justice secured themselves that 3 in the series. Victory against the Vancouver Titans. The Titans' second loss in the regular season. Corey ends with 34 final blows on Hans.
Okay, so I've been told that the 4th map was pretty mean, and that
trying to extend this as well.
That Vancouver permits they're on Reinhardt Hog right now. I was told that Vancouver is done and that it's not worth like better viewing. It's like trash.
Long as possible. A lot of hope. The support of the Justice.
Yeah, they're playing Pharah Widow. Dive.
Shots helping to bring down the Pharah, and not in a resurrectable location.
And they get full hog, yeah.
Absolutely done.
Right hog, East Coast. They're through crafting. I think they were pretty much like, what we've been doing all game isn't gonna work. There's no way we can beat them. Let's just try something extreme, just to try to take a map off. And at the same time, you're just done. If you're 22-1 and you get upset like that, like how do you have the mental composure to regroup and then come back and take a map off? Like, yeah, you can't. I want to hear what Corey says. Because you know Corey's gonna be MVP.
Great job, wow.
Wait, did Corey and
make
Stratus?
some noise for Corey.
Yes! Dude, I told you, Stratus deserves to be
It's
MVP.
Stratus right here. Great job. Wow. Amazing win. The second team to ever defeat the Vancouver Titans in the regular season is the Washington Justice. And you guys actually completely dominated them. It was 4-0. You guys were just playing out of your minds. Corey, what does this win mean?
Valiant beat the Titans at the beginning of season 3. They beat them by mostly playing 3 DPS.
To you guys.
Basically, it just means that we're really strong in this meta. And
But Valiant beat them 3-1, so this is the first time Vancouver's ever forwarded.
it gives us a lot of confidence going into all of our other games, and this might be the 7-0 run.
It could be. Do you believe yourself to be the best Hanzo ever in the history of Overwatch League?
I like to add Widow and Hanzo to the best currently. So Widow and Hanzo to the best.
Two things. One, DM is better than Corey. 2, Bumper is better than Corey and Hanzo.
And also, you know, it is fact that Washington Justice have had a hard and very difficult season. But you two, especially Corey and Stratus, you guys are always having fun and you guys are always positive, smiling a lot. You know, how do you keep up that positivity when things aren't going the way you want it to?
It's a little hard to say when things aren't going for the way that we want them to, but I think generally, like, all of us really try hard to work together, and we just really try to have a good time, and we want to work with each other whenever we get on stage. Guido, especially, that guy's a goober. Guido's an absolute goober.
I can confirm, he is. Anything
Goober.
else you would like to say?
I really like coffee.
You really like coffee. How about you, Corey?
I'm a Red Bull kind of guy, but
Hey, I
What?
also believe maybe that positivity comes from your sunglasses. Do you have that on you right now?
There they
Can
are.
Do you mind if I try it on?
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead close that YouTube video. So, if you enjoyed the VOD review, whatever, I have coaching server link below the YouTube video, and make sure you subscribe. Otherwise, thank you for watching.